Important update about YouTube playlists. Hey everyone. We've received many messages asking why our YouTube playlists aren't showing up. Do we create YouTube playlists? Yes, we absolutely do. So why can't you see them? Honestly, we're not sure. We've been in contact with YouTube support for several months now, but we still haven't received a clear answer or solution. After much discussion, our team has decided to take matters into our own hands. We believe the issue might be related to the number of playlists we've created on a single channel, possibly too many. Our solution? We're launching 2 additional YouTube channels, giving us a total of 3. This way, we can organize our audiobooks better and avoid the playlist visibility issue in the future. This change only affects our YouTube audience. If you're a patron supporter, you can still access all our audiobooks by visiting the collection menu on Patreon. Thanks so much for your time and continued support. Happy listening. How can this be? We exclaimed, why died? That's Guy-sensei after opening the 6th gate. Neji's rotation has gotten a lot stronger. Tenten noted, still visibly worried. Sasuke, however, realized that Neji was barely managing to hold on. Rotation required the output of chakra from all body points, combined with constant, rapid spinning. The chakra and physical toll was extreme. Yet, for now, Neji had no other option. But if he got hit again, he would be unable to move. He couldn't wait any longer. Sasuke gripped his blade, lightning flickering around him as he lunged forward with a powerful, lightning-quick sword slash that tore through the air. The sound of crackling lightning caught Lee's attention, and he quickly rushed forward, blocking Sasuke's path. Not so fast. With his nunchaku in hand, Lee accurately intercepted Sasuke's blade. Unfortunately, lightning chakra from Sasuke's blade traveled through Lee's metal nunchaku, temporarily paralyzing him. Hey! Sasuke chuckled softly, kicking Lee away. Sasuke, stop! Shino raised his hands, and a thick swarm of bugs formed a wall, blocking Sasuke. Chidori stream. Electricity surged around Sasuke's body, spreading outward, enveloping him in lightning as he shattered the bug wall, charring countless insects in an instant. At that moment, Lee circled back. I won't let you interfere with Guy-sensei, Sasuke. Lee discarded his nunchaku, raising his bandage-wrapped fists. Only Tenten, for some unknown reason, remained frozen in place. TCH. Sasuke used his lightning-encased body to fend off Shino's insects, momentarily forcing Lee back. Grandpa Izuna. Sasuke reached into his pouch. Whoosh! A paper figure flew out, transforming into a human midair. Izuna unsheathed his ninja blade, moving silently yet swiftly behind Guy and launching a precise, lightning-fast thrust. Guy-sensei. Both Lee and Tenten cried out in alarm. Sensing danger, Guy immediately dodged with lightning speed. Neji took this chance to stop, stumbling as he clutched his chest, gasping for breath. You, Hyuga kid. Izuna's eyes remained fixed on Guy as he swung his blade. Go join Sasuke. Leave this to me. Yes. Neji glanced at the fan symbol on Izuna's back, took a deep breath, and moved towards Sasuke. Neji! Guy shouted, ready to move, but a massive figure suddenly blocked his path. Another one of these chakra manifestations. He said, pointing at Izuna within Susanoo. And you? I feel like I've seen you before. TCH, is your memory that poor? Izuna scoffed, crossing his arms. I remember your hairstyle vividly. Really? I don't recall. Guy assumed a serious fighting stance. No matter what, don't stand in my way. I must take my beloved student back today. You won't. Izuna replied with a smirk. Morning peacock. In an instant, Guy unleashed countless flaming punches, creating a burst of flames in the shape of a peacock's tail. It's useless. Izuna remained motionless, arms crossed. At the same time, the half-body Susanoo grew larger, rising higher and higher. Sasuke pulled Neji over. Let's go. With Izuna's support, they entered the Susanoo's interior. Lee, who had been following close behind, crashed into the Susanoo's armor as it closed around them. Inside Susanoo, Neji looked back, smirking as he watched Lee's squished face through the semi-transparent chakra barrier. Darn it. Lee peeled his face off and punched the barrier. However, neither Guy nor Lee could break through the steadily growing, towering humanoid chakra form. The 3 began to ascend as Susanoo lifted them skyward. By now, the giant figure formed by this strange eye technique had grown over 100 meters tall, like a god standing against the heavens. Crack! 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 The giant armored itself in full-body armor, donning a Tang mask with a long nose. Finally, the 3 entered the space inside Susanoo's forehead. Let's go! At Izuna's command, Susanoo unfurled a pair of massive wings from its neck. Don't leave, Neji! From the ground below, Guy suddenly roared in fury. Gate of Wonder, open. Impressive. Izuna looked down. What terrifying chakra? Guy-sensei. Neji gazed down at the blue steam-shrouded figure below with a complex expression. Looks like he's about to use his ultimate move. Sasuke watched the ground curiously. Susanoo flapped its massive wings, ascending even higher. Hyutora, daytime tiger. Guy's roar echoed as a huge, fierce white tiger erupted from the ground, charging straight towards Susanoo. Dodge. Neji called out in alarm. Out of caution, Izuna quickly increased Susanoo's speed. Simultaneously, the giant arm raised its massive blade, slicing toward the tiger. A loud crash echoed as Susanoo's blade shattered in half, while the tiger dissipated. What was that? Izuna raised an intrigued eyebrow. It's an air cannon formed by high-speed punches compressing air and releasing it in one burst. Neji explained. So it's not chakra-based but purely taijutsu. Interesting. Izuna seemed genuinely impressed with Guy. That Guy, has truly mastered taijutsu. On the ground, realizing even his daytime tiger failed, Guy appeared to make up his mind. Lee. He looked back at Lee with a serious expression. Next, I'm going to use the final of the 8 gates. Watch carefully. No. Lee shook his head desperately, tears streaming down his face. No, Guy-sensei. You'll die if you do that. Guy-sensei. Tenten ran over as well. Please don't open the final gate. There must be another way to handle Neji's situation. No, I must do this now. Guy looked up at the giant figure flying higher into the sky. Watching my student defect while I, as their teacher, couldn't stop them, is a complete failure. No. Guy-sensei. Lee fell to his knees, pleading. Please, reconsider another way. Neji, you fool. Tenten shouted into the sky. I'll never forgive you. Forgive you, you. Her voice echoed as might Guy ignored his student's pleas, stepping forward once more. This is not the time to give up, Lee, Tenten. Just watch the back of my youthful spirit. With his back to his students, Guy raised a thumbs up. An overwhelmingly terrifying aura began to awaken from within his body. The Gate of Chapter 187, The Gate of D-Seal. Kakashi suddenly appeared behind Guy, pressing a talisman marked with seal onto his back. The chakra raging around Guy abruptly paused, then slowly calmed. Phew. Kakashi let out a sigh of relief. Glad I made it in time. Kakashi. Guy turned around. What did you do? Guy, don't be so impulsive. Kakashi looked up at the retreating Susanoo. Let's end it here. He then met Guy's gaze. It's still far too soon for you to make a sacrifice. Neji. I thought I could at least protect him. Guy seemed despondent. I didn't expect he didn't believe in me. Kakashi patted him on the shoulder. If you had gone all out, you could have protected him. But doing so would mean making the Hyuga clan your enemies. You're Neji's teacher, yes, but he wouldn't want to drag you into the family's disputes. Besides, if you sacrificed yourself, there'd be no one left to protect Neji. I see. Guy's eyes filled with tears. So he didn't want to burden his teacher. My beloved student. That's not the point. Kakashi was exasperated. Guy-sensei. Lee hugged Guy, sobbing loudly. I thought. He turned to Kakashi. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi, avoiding Lee's tear-streaked face, looked away. And noticed Tenten's hesitant expression. Following Tenten's gaze, he saw the seal talisman on Guy's back and understood. Tenten? You want to know how I did that? He asked. Yes. Kakashi-sensei, you're amazing. Tenten looked at him with shining eyes, nodding enthusiastically. Guy-sensei was just about to fully open the 8 gates. Well, it's thanks to the talisman. Kakashi replied modestly. After all, it was the same one that had helped prevent Naruto from losing control as a Jinchuriki. Excuse me. Tenten gripped Kakashi's right hand tightly, her eyes sparkling even more. Where can I get a talisman like that? You want one? Kakashi felt a sweat drop on his forehead. Of course. She glanced at Lee and Guy still crying, then looked seriously at Kakashi. Those two are always so reckless, I want to have the strength to pull them back. That's tricky. Kakashi scratched his head. Jiraiya-sama gave me these talismans. I'll ask if I can get more for you. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei. Tenten quickly released his hand and bowed deeply. Ahaha. Kakashi laughed awkwardly, waving his hand. It's not certain. It's not certain I can get them for you. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto's voice called out, as he and Sakura arrived hurriedly, led by Pakkun. Oh, you're here. Kakashi waved. Kakashi-sensei, what happened? Naruto looked around. Where are Sasuke and Neji? They escaped completely. Shino, who had been silent, stepped forward. Huh? You're here too, Shino. Naruto turned to him in surprise. How rude, Naruto. Black aura emerged behind Shino as he pushed up his sunglasses. But Naruto's attention had already shifted. Oh, what's with Lee and Bushy Brow Sensei? He squinted at Guy and Lee, still holding each other and crying. Probably regretful for not stopping their companions. Kakashi also looked uncomfortably at the pair. It's hopeless, isn't it? Naruto muttered. Even I've heard things, there's no way Neji would come back now. Everyone looked at him in shock. Naruto. Sakura was stunned. She couldn't believe Naruto was saying this. But hey. Naruto grinned. No problem. When I become Hokage, whether it's Uchiha or Hyuga, any issue, leave it to me. Big words, huh? Kakashi chuckled, flicking his forehead. Humphrey. Not possible. Shino cut in. If you ask why, Naruto, it's because your chances of becoming Hokage are slim. Lies. Naruto shouted angrily. I will become Hokage. Sakura laughed. Now that was Naruto. The laboratory. Kaito stood by a glowing magic array, quickly jotting down experimental data on paper. Suddenly, he paused. Neji and Sasuke, they've fully left the Land of Fire. He informed Hisashi, lying within the magic array. Hisashi's eyes sparkled with joy as he nodded slightly. Kaido resumed his work. After a while, he set down his pen and formed seals with his hands. The glowing magic array gradually faded, and Hisashi floated free. Unable to contain his curiosity, he asked. Did they really escape? Kaido-sama, can you sense their exact situation? The person supporting Sasuke is similar to you. Kaido sat at his desk, flipping through his records. Right now, he's like my Shikigami, so I can roughly sense his location. Then, there's no way to know their exact situation? Hisashi floated closer, looking at Kaido hopefully. My goodness. Kaido shook his head. You're too persistent. He raised his hand, and a communication paper figure emerged from his sleeve, activating and standing on the desk. Casually, Kaito spoke. Sasuke, are you all okay? Uncle, we're all fine. Sasuke's voice replied. Kaido heard Hisashi let out a big sigh of relief. Only Neji got a bit hurt. Sasuke continued. Hisashi tensed up again. It's not serious. I'll recover soon. Neji's voice chimed in. Neji. Hisashi couldn't hold back anymore, peeking from behind Kaido. How are you, really? Are your injuries bad? Father? Neji sounded surprised. I'm fine, just a few broken ribs. That's fine. Hisashi almost turned into a demon. Who did this? It's okay, I foolishly tried challenging Guy-sensei. Neji calmly explained. Sasuke treated me, and his medicine works well, so don't worry. That's right. Kaido added. The medicine Sasuke has was specially made by me. As long as you're okay. Hisashi retracted. Thank you, Kaido-sama, for your patience. It's fine, you're worried about your child. And lastly, Madara-sama, thank you for your guidance. Take care, Sasuke. Kaido ended the communication. Chapter 188, You've heard about what's happening in the Land of Fire, haven't you, Itachi-san? Kisame's tone was laced with sarcasm. It seems your little brother is getting bolder, even going so far as to entice a young Hyuga to defect. Itachi looked at him blankly, remaining silent. Is your little brother trying to use the Byakugan to find you, Itachi-san? Kisame continued. Looks like you'll need to be on guard. He's still far from reaching that point. Itachi replied coldly. At that moment, the two were strolling through a secluded mountain range in the Land of Earth. Kisame, carrying the large sword Seimata, walked ahead, occasionally looking back to speak to Itachi. I'm just giving you a friendly reminder, Itachi-san. Don't take it too lightly. Pointless. Itachi said, gazing into the distance. Let's focus on the task at hand. Got it, got it. Kisame replied with a toothy grin. It's a stroke of luck that the Four Tails Jinchuriki is at odds with his village and has come here alone. It makes our job much easier. According to our intel, the Four Tails Jinchuriki, Roshi, specializes in lava style, so you, as a water style expert, will be the primary combatant here. Itachi noted calmly. Hey, this is a good gig, isn't it? Kisame chuckled again. So you're discussing how to take me down right in front of me? An elderly man in purple attire emerged from behind a boulder. It's been a while since I've encountered young men as arrogant as you two. As he spoke, a powerful and intense aura emanated from his body. So, you must be Roshi. You've saved us the trouble of playing hide-and-seek by coming out to face us. Kisame said with a fierce grin, striding forward. Arrogance. Roshi's face twisted with anger as his aura grew stronger. Gurgle, gurgle. Lava-style armor. Bubbling lava appeared from within his body, quickly encasing him. Kisame brought his hands together in a seal. Water style, great exploding water colliding wave. His cheeks puffed up as he unleashed an enormous torrent of water from his mouth. Standing on the water's surface, he swiftly rose to higher ground as wave upon wave surged toward Roshi. It seems you're more than just talk. Roshi's expression shifted as he quickly formed another hand seal. Lava around him intensified in heat, and a tail-like appendage resembling an octopus tentacle emerged from behind him. Lava style, flower fruit mountain. Roshi pressed his hands to the ground, creating an entire field of lava. Boom. Lava erupted like a volcano, clashing with Kisame's water, generating thick steam that obscured vision. This is proving troublesome. Kisame lifted his sword, Seimata, as the cloth wrapping it unraveled on its own. Seimata opened its mouth, with sharp scales expanding and contracting in rhythm. As the steam gradually dispersed in the wind, Roshi stood atop a cooled rock, having escaped the water's interference and taken the high ground. Lava style, scorching stream rock technique. Massive lava spheres, blazing with intense heat, erupted from his mouth, hurtling toward Kisame. Any chakra-based attack is just food for Seimata. Kisame swung Seimata with ease, neutralizing the scorching lava spheres into harmless rocks. Roshi's eyes narrowed, feeling the challenge grow. At this moment, Kisame was skimming the water's surface, rushing toward him. Roshi roared in fury, dropping to all fours as a ferocious red chakra enveloped him, sprouting four complete tails behind him. Die. He leaped, claws bared like a wild beast. Hey hey. The waves beneath Kisame lifted him higher as he released Seimata and formed another seal. Water style, great waterfall technique. A massive stream of water cascaded down upon Roshi, submerging Kisame beneath the waves. Even in partial tailed beast form, Roshi continued his aggressive advance underwater. But Kisame suddenly fused with Seimata, transforming into a half-human, half-shark creature, allowing him to move with the speed of a fish, far outpacing Roshi. As this monstrous form, Kisame weaved through the water, striking Roshi multiple times, each blow siphoning away his chakra. Realizing this, Roshi frantically swam toward the surface. It's useless. Kisame sneered at his struggling prey, his face twisted in a cruel smile. Water style, giant shark bullet technique. With both hands extended, Kisame released a giant chakra-formed shark, its mouth bristling with teeth as it lunged for Roshi. This technique absorbs chakra, growing stronger with each bit it consumes. Kisame grinned once more, following behind the giant shark as it charged at Roshi. At the same time, Kakashi, Guy, and their team had returned to the Hidden Leaf Village. In the Hokage's office, the atmosphere was tense. Everyone else had left, leaving only Tsunade, Kakashi, Hayashi, and the remaining members of Team Guy. My deepest apologies, Lady Hokage. Guy bowed low to Tsunade, while Hayashi glared angrily at him. Lee quietly shifted over to stand protectively behind Guy. Kakashi glanced over, sweat dropping at the sight. Guy. I know your abilities well. Hayashi said through gritted teeth. But you let Neji escape right in front of you, this is utterly incomprehensible. I'm sorry. Guy kept his head bowed. Hayashi-sama. Kakashi turned to Hayashi. Guy couldn't have anticipated the sudden appearance of a powerful ally at Sasuke's side. Excuses. Hayashi's anger overflowed. As the captain of Neji's team, he must take responsibility. Kakashi's eyes narrowed, his tone firm. Guy is a key asset to the Leaf Village. I think it's unreasonable to demand he risk his life over this. Don't you agree, Hayashi-sama? Hayashi's veins bulged on his forehead and neck as he looked past Kakashi to Tsunade. Lady Hokage. Calm down, Hayashi. Tsunade said sternly. Yes. Hayashi appeared to comply, bowing his head slightly. With her hands folded beneath her chin, Tsunade's expression grew more serious. Hayashi, how are things within the Hyuga clan? Kakashi noticed a brief tension in Hayashi's posture before he replied. Thank you for your concern, Lady Hokage. The Hyuga clan is well. For now, we'll leave it at that. Neji's warrant will be issued shortly. Tsunade shifted her gaze to Team Guy. Guy, Lee, Tenten. Yes, ma'am. Team Guy is temporarily barred from taking missions outside the village. Tsunade ordered. Stay in the village and be on standby. Dismissed. Yes. The three bowed with glum expressions and left the office quietly. Hayashi. Tsunade turned her gaze on him. Yes. Hayashi seemed to have regained his composure. Keep the Hyuga clan under control. Tsunade's gaze was sharp. I don't want any more incidents. Understood, Lady Hokage. Hayashi bowed and left. Kakashi. Tsunade finally relaxed, rubbing her temples, looking weary. Lady Hokage? Kakashi also let his shoulders sag. Take charge of leading the 3rd division of the Anbu. Keep an eye on the Hyuga clan. Tsunoda instructed softly. Turning to the window, she sighed as she looked out at the blue sky. The disruption of century-old traditions will inevitably shake the Hyuga. Even those who were once obedient might start rebelling. Do you mean? Kakashi probed, watching Tsunoda's expression closely. She walked to the window, opened it, and stood in silence, the breeze lifting her hair. Kakashi waited quietly until she continued. The village shouldn't interfere in clan matters. As long as it doesn't impact others in the village, leave them be. Understood. With a final nod, Kakashi exited the office. Was my decision right this time? Tsunoda's hand gripped the windowsill tightly. The Hyuga clan, now the strongest in the Leaf Village. What future awaits them? She gazed up at the first Hokage's face on the cliff, her resolve gradually hardening. Chapter 189, at the Hyuga residence. Hinata watched her father walk into the room with a dark expression and quietly breathed a sigh of relief. Great, Brother Neji had managed to escape smoothly. She glanced once more at her father Hayashi's tightly closed door and carefully walked toward her own room. Upon opening the door, her younger sister, shorter than her by a head, rushed over like a bullet and hugged her around the waist. Hanabi? Hinata wrapped her arms around the young girl's shoulders, gently patting her back to comfort her. Sister. Hanabi said, looking up at her with clear eyes. What's wrong? Hinata asked, gently stroking the young girl's hair. Hanabi squinted happily, nuzzling into Hinata's palm. Are you worried about that guy, Neji? Hanabi asked, looking up at Hinata's worried face. Call him Brother Neji, Hanabi. Hinata gently tapped her head, disapprovingly. Yes, my lady sister. Hanabi stuck out her tongue playfully. Oh, you. Hinata sighed, then smiled softly. I'm not worried anymore because Brother Neji has already left the Land of Fire. Humphrey. Why is sister worried about that guy? Hanabi buried her face against Hinata's chest, pouting. If you have time to worry about him, sister, you should be more concerned about the family. What about the family? Hinata asked in surprise. Humphrey, you're so oblivious, sister. Hanabi puffed her cheeks, putting her hands on her hips. Since Neji did what he did, it's going to cause big trouble for the family. I hadn't thought about that. Hinata's face turned pale, as if something had just dawned on her. I hadn't considered. It's obvious, which is why you're so slow, silly sister. Hanabi looked at her with a hint of exasperation. And for the last couple of days, the atmosphere in the clan hasn't felt right. Everyone. Hinata's hands trembled as she covered her face. We're all family, so why can't we just get along? Oh, you're so naive, my dear sister. Hanabi sighed like a little grown-up and shook her head. But still, let's leave this to father and the other adults. There's nothing we can do at this point. Hanabi suddenly smiled. Maybe this could even be a good thing. She hugged Hinata tightly once again. Because, I don't want you to end up part of the branch family, sister. Hanabi. Hinata's expression turned a bit complicated, but she couldn't help smiling. Thank you, Hanabi. But. She looked down at Hanabi's eyes with a serious expression. Like you said, if something happens, father and the others will handle it. You shouldn't worry about it too much. Got it. Hanabi mumbled, burying her face. Meanwhile, in Hayashi's room. The atmosphere in Hayashi's room was tense. My deepest apologies, Lord Hayashi. Hyuga Takuma knelt in front of Hayashi. Hayashi looked sternly at the young man, forehead nearly touching the floor, without saying a word. Lord Hayashi, Takuma has done his best, said an elderly man with a long beard sitting beside him. The Hyuga clan still needs him to redeem himself, so please, forgive him. After a long pause, Hayashi finally spoke in a deep voice. Stand up. Yes. Hyuga Takuma rose and took a seat at the end of the row, kneeling upright. Elder. Hayashi addressed the old man who had just spoken. Have you identified the members of the branch family with rebellious intentions? The few we were already aware of have indeed been having private meetings more frequently. The elder stroked his long beard. But my people haven't found out if there are any others hiding deeper. Continue to stay alert. Hayashi narrowed his eyes. They'll eventually reveal themselves. Yes, I'll give the orders. The elder said, bowing slightly. There's no need for undue concern, Lord Hayashi. Another elder sitting opposite the first added in a calm voice. With things unclear for now, Neji's actions have only given them a glimmer of hope, so they probably won't act rashly. You're right. The first elder agreed with a nod. While we remain vigilant about internal issues, for now, we should just stay on guard. The real issue is how we can restore the honor of the Hyuga clan. His gaze swept across everyone in the room except Hayashi. The Hyuga clan is the strongest in Hidden Leaf Village, And we must protect our reputation. Then, should we send someone to capture Neji? If we can capture him, we might restore some of the clan's reputation. But these are special circumstances, and leaving the village without permission may not be possible. The Hokage might not agree to us sending people after him. Could we arrange for certain people among the border guard to be given some freedom of movement? Don't forget, that Uchiha boy still has powerful protectors in the shadows. Average members of our clan aren't a match for them. Damn Uchiha, always lingering like a shadow. Enough. Hayashi's voice silenced everyone. Elder, select reliable people from the border guard to continue searching for Neji's whereabouts. He gave the order directly. Once his location is discovered, report back immediately. Do not engage recklessly. I understand. Elder replied firmly. As for the rest of you. Hayashi's gaze swept across the others in the room. Pull your people back and avoid taking missions outside the village unless absolutely necessary. Yes, Lord Hayashi. Everyone bowed respectfully in response. Hayashi stood up and walked toward the door. As he passed Takuma, he paused. Takuma. He looked down at the kneeling young man. What are your instructions, Lord Hayashi? Takuma lowered his head even further. Starting tonight, you'll be responsible for guarding the main house. With that, Hayashi opened the door and left. Yes. Takuma looked up, pleasantly surprised, watching Hayashi's back. As footsteps sounded, everyone began to leave the room, leaving Takuma, who still knelt, somewhat dazed. Once everyone's backs disappeared, Takuma finally came to his senses, silently standing up and leaving the room. After exiting the main house, Takuma was blocked on a secluded path. Well, if it isn't Takuma, the most loyal servant of Lord Hayashi. Just got back from listening to Lord Hayashi's teachings, eh, Takuma? Two young Hyuga members blocked Takuma's path. Move. Takuma's face was expressionless as he looked at them coldly. Humphrey. One of them bumped Takuma's shoulder hard as he passed. A sneer echoed in his ear. Main family's a lapdog. He whispered before he and his companion walked off. No one noticed, though, that as they passed, the young man's fingers subtly and rhythmically tapped Takuma's arm. Chapter 190, Uchiha Residence, Mount Hama. The sun was shining brightly. Madara lay on the wooden corridor floor, propping his head with one hand. With half-closed eyes, he enjoyed the sunshine, much like a lazy cat. You've been awfully relaxed lately, Senior Madara, kinda remarked, hands in his pockets, strolling barefoot from the other end of the corridor. Humphrey. Madara didn't turn his head, letting Kaito sit down next to him. Kaito leaned against a post, basking in the sunlight as he closed his eyes as well. Inside the house, Chiri glanced at the two of them on the corridor, shaking her head with a smile. After a long pause, Madara spoke. Hey, kid. Have you finished that caged bird study? Almost. Kaito yawned, stretching his mouth wide. Even juniors need a break, you know. Not my concern. Madara replied coldly. Such an indifferent senior. Can't you show a little care for your adorable junior? Kaito complained casually. Go away. Madara's tone remained icy. How hurtful. Kaito responded mildly. You brat. Madara's gaze turned sharp. Did you come here just to bicker? Oh, sorry. Kaito raised his hands lazily in a mock gesture of apology, lacking any sincerity. My mistake. You're too bored, aren't you? Madara turned his gaze away. Go back to your experiments already. I need a rest. Kaito stretched, then paused, noticing something from his sleeve. Suddenly, he pulled out a communication paper figure. Kaito. The voice that came through sounded distinctly irritated. Oh, Minato, is something up? Kaito lay on the floor, resting his chin on his hand, studying the little paper figure standing on the floorboards up close. Huh? You're asking me what's up? The expression drawn on the paper's face looked visibly annoyed, with symbols of irritation drawn across its forehead. You really put me through hell. You'll be fine. After all, you are the fourth Hokage. Kaito edged away from the paper figure. I need to speak to you in person. Minato's voice held an icy tone. Haha. Kaito laughed awkwardly. There's no need to go to all that trouble, this is fine. Naruto's issue has caused a commotion. Lady Tsunade is already pressing me. Minato resumed his usual tone. You need to give the village a proper explanation. Huh? Don't make me laugh. Madara suddenly spoke. Why should the strong need to explain themselves to the weak? Huh? Minato stuttered, surprised. Excuse me, but who are you? Madara, as if infected by Kaito's lazy manner, yawned. Me? I'm Madara Uchiha. Question mark. Minato was completely shocked. Could it be the same Madara Uchiha who founded the Hidden Leaf with the first Hokage? Madara closed his eyes again, ignoring the question. Yes. Kaido replied with a smile. But let's keep that between us, alright, Minato? Kaido, what exactly are you planning? Minato asked, sounding weary. If you're trying to take down the Akatsuki, you already have enough strength. Kaido chuckled. Hey, I've told you already, my goal is to save the world. Save the world. Those words seemed to hold a certain power, and Minato's enthusiasm reignited. I said I wanted to be part of it, too. Don't worry, I'll make sure to bring you along. Kaido replied nonchalantly. Really? The paper figure's eyes sparkled. Really, the whole world will remember your heroism. Kaido confirmed. Then he heard Minato rubbing his hands together in excitement. Ah, was he that thrilled? Looks like Sasuke was right. Minato appears reliable, but he's actually a big kid with a little bit hero complex. No, wait. Suddenly, Minato's voice turned serious. I didn't come here just for that. You almost sidetracked me. You're too cunning, Kaido. The paper figure's forehead showed the irritation symbols again. TCH. Kaido looked away, disgruntled. Hey. I heard that. Minato finally lost his cool. No, you didn't. Kaido denied flatly. I did. That's just mean, you know. Minato sounded frustrated. I don't care, you better sort out this mess with Lady Tsunade. Got it, I'll give them an answer for your sake. Ugh, such a hassle. Kaito yawned again. How about this? Relay the following message to the 5th Hokage. He was almost ready to fall asleep, his eyes growing heavy. My apologies. A younger family member acted out of line, and as the patriarch of Uchiha clan, I'm willing to offer the Hidden Leaf a reasonable compensation. Compensation? Anything we want? Minato immediately perked up. Sure. Kaido's voice grew softer. Really? That's great. Minato seemed ready to list his desires. Kaito reminded him kindly. You can name your price, of course, but I'll negotiate. And like I said, reasonable compensation. The key word here is reasonable. Fine, I knew you were up to something. Minato replied, slightly disappointed. I'll pass it on to Lady Tsunade. Kaido opened his eyes again with some effort. Minato, you're starting to act less like a Hokage. Minato laughed. The Hokage, Minato, sacrificed himself. Now that I'm back, I exist as Minato the father, or perhaps just Minato the shinobi. What a sly way of putting it. Kaido chuckled. But I don't mind it. Naruto's back. Minato's voice softened. That's it for now, I'll get back to you after I speak with Lady Tsunade. Goodbye. Goodbye. Kaido put away the now quiet paper figure and turned his head toward Madara. Senior Madara, have you fallen asleep? Thud. Madara, with his eyes still closed, planted a kick squarely on Kaido's chest. Scram. Kaido rolled several times across the floor, finally managing to get up with determination. Chiri-senpai. He bounced into the kitchen. What's for dinner? Something's up with you today, Kaido. Chiri glanced at him while chopping vegetables. So, even Miss Chiri noticed. A genuine smile appeared on Kaido's face. I did watch you grow up. Chiri shook her head. Today, you're acting just like your younger self. It's no big deal, she still couldn't help asking out of concern. Nope, all good. Kaido shook his head quickly, rubbing his temples. My spiritual power is on the verge of advancing, so my thoughts are getting a bit chaotic and energetic. I'll be back to normal soon. Glad to hear it. Chiri sighed in relief. No wonder you actually came out of the lab to rest today. Kaido laughed happily. Even Senior Madara noticed, so he's being extra tolerant today. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Can't waste this chance. With that, he raised his arms and ran outside, dramatically falling and rolling down the corridor. Senior Madara. I've rolled back. Chapter 191, Empty District. This was an abandoned city in the wilderness and served as the base for the Ninja Cat clan. To ensure Neji's injuries could heal well, Sasuke brought him to this familiar place. Not long after they entered the underground passage, two ninja cats in kimonos gracefully jumped down to the ground, meowing as they gathered around. Who are you? A white ninja cat resembling a small tiger sat on the ground, looking up at Sasuke. Oh, I remember. You're Sasuke Meow. Sasuke? Another multicolored ninja cat, seemingly more composed, added. Child of Uchiha, are you here to see Granny Cat? Yes. Sasuke said, crouching down and pulling two small bottles out of his ninja pouch, placing them before the two cats. It's been a while, Hina, Taka. Hina quickly hugged one of the bottles with her forepaws, sniffed it, and immediately warmed up to him. Meow. My favorite matetabi drink. Thank you, Sasuke Meow. Follow us. Taka also picked up her bottle and turned to lead the way deeper into the ruins. "Let's go," Sasuke said, signaling to Neji, and they followed the ninja cats. The manager of the ninja cat clan, Granny Cat, was an old lady wearing cat ear accessories. As soon as she saw Sasuke, she came forward to greet him. "This is a rare guest," she said, looking Sasuke up and down. "It's been a while, Sasuke." "Good to see you again, Granny Cat," Sasuke replied with a slight bow. "I'm afraid I have to trouble you this time." "No trouble at all," Granny Cat said, holding her smoking pipe as she sat back on a large cushion surrounded by a group of cats. "This is the store manager, Granny Cat. And this is Neji Hyuga." Sasuke introduced them. "Hello, sorry for the intrusion." Neji also bowed politely. "Hello, so you're a child of the Hyuga clan?" Granny Cat said, taking a puff from her pipe, then turned to Sasuke. "What do you need, Sasuke?" "Besides replenishing some ninja tools and other items, Neji is injured, and we would like to stay here to rest for a while." Granny Cat exhaled a puff of smoke. "Understood. Let my granddaughter take care of you both." "Hina." "Coming." A young girl with long hair ran out from a nearby storeroom. "Granny, did you call me?" Granny Cat spoke warmly. "These two young men need to rest here for a while. Granny is getting old, so you'll be responsible for looking after them." "Yes, Granny." Hina turned to the two boys standing in the room, smiling as she greeted them. "Hello, my name is Hina. Sasuke Uchiha." Sasuke nodded. Neji adhered to formal etiquette. "Nice to meet you, I am Neji Hyuga. Thank you for your assistance, Miss Hina." Hina blushed slightly at the sight of the two handsome boys, quickly turning to hide her embarrassment as she led the way outside. "Come with me, and I'll show you to a room where you can rest." Sasuke and Neji bowed to Granny Cat before following Hina. The three of them walked down the dim, winding underground passage in silence. The passage was quiet, with only their footsteps and distant meows echoing from afar. "Ah, here it is," Hina said, pushing open a door after turning a corner. "I remember there are some candles in here for lighting. Rest here for now, I'll bring over some bedding later." "Thank you." Sasuke nodded and stepped into the room first, lighting a small orange flame at his fingertips. He flicked it casually, and the flame split into several parts midair, landing on the room's candle holders. The warm candlelight filled the once-dim room with brightness. Neji and Hina entered the room, thanked her, and shut the door behind them. "Take a seat," Sasuke said, casually sitting cross-legged on the ground, unfastening his sword and ninja pouch, and setting them aside. Neji grabbed a cushion from the corner of the room and sat formally. "How's your injury healing?" Sasuke asked, checking the contents of his ninja pouch. "Not bad. Your medicine is quite effective. In another week, my bones should be fully healed." Neji answered absently, lowering his gaze, deep in thought. "That's good. I'd like to get moving as soon as possible." Sasuke glanced at him. "What's on your mind?" "Nothing," Neji replied, somewhat dismissively. "Humphrey, I know what you're thinking." Sasuke lined up his kunai and shuriken on the ground, organizing their quantity. Looking up at Neji, he said. "Just a reminder. Since you've already made a choice, don't regret it." "I won't regret it," Neji replied, meeting Sasuke's gaze fearlessly. "Then what are you thinking about?" Sasuke resumed organizing his ninja tools. It took Neji a while to respond. "I didn't interact much with my clan before, but now I realize my actions will likely ignite the tension between the main and branch families." Sasuke merely scoffed at his words. "Why are you laughing?" Neji asked, frowning at him. "I'm laughing because you're still too soft-hearted," Sasuke replied calmly. "If you intend to reform the deeply rooted system of the Hyuga clan, did you expect the family to peacefully endure the change?" "I'm not that naive." Neji quickly denied it. Sasuke shook his head. "Then stop overthinking. Reformation is bound to come with sacrifices." "I understand." Neji looked down at his hands. "You're right, I need to rid myself of this weakness." "Humphrey, in the end, you'll need to sacrifice even yourself," Sasuke reminded him. "Because regardless of the outcome, you can never return to the Hyuga." Neji, however, smiled. "If I can accomplish my goal, then it's worth it. By the way, have you thought about the consequences of removing the caged bird seal?" Sasuke suddenly looked directly into Neji's eyes. After all, in the ninja world, many people covet the Byakugan. Removing it might put the weaker members of the Hyuga in danger. Neji frowned even more. The Uchiha never had the caged bird seal. "Humphrey, the Sharingan and Byakugan are different," Sasuke said proudly, lifting his chin. "If someone transplants a Sharingan, they're cursed by its power, which drives them mad." "Huh, but Kakashi is fine, isn't he?" Neji was skeptical. Sasuke explained. I looked into it. Kakashi's eye was given to him willingly by his teammate. Willingly? So, there's no curse if the original owner consents? Neji found Sasuke's explanation far-fetched. That's a bit mystical. There's a reasonable explanation. Sasuke said. He recalled that Kaido had once discussed this topic with him. In simple terms, the Sharingan was yin style, or the application of spiritual energy. If an eye isn't given willingly, it carries the original owner's intense pain and hatred. In other words, that negative spiritual energy, transferred through the visual nerves, affects the brain, resulting in madness. Sasuke explained it all in detail, leaving Neji somewhat amazed. This guy sure knew a lot. Neji found himself admiring Sasuke's knowledge. Sasuke smirked with a hint of pride. Yet the problem remained unsolved. Neji could only sigh. Maybe that's the price of freedom. However, he was unwilling to give up. Feeling good, Sasuke offered. About that issue, let me show you a path forward. Chapter 192, Neji, restraining his urge to strike Sasuke's pressure points, asked calmly. What's your idea? It's simple. Sasuke gave him a disdainful look. You just need to sincerely ask for Uncle's help. You mean? Neji's eyes widened in excitement. Change the function of the caged bird seal? Sasuke nodded. That's right. Remove the restrictions and keep only the function to destroy the eyes after death. I see, it is indeed a perfect solution. Neji calmed down, then muttered. It's only simple for you, though. Sasuke looked at him, confused. He's your uncle, not mine. Neji said, annoyed. You, as family, just need to please him, but why would he help me? Well, that's up to you. Sasuke shifted his gaze. You could try asking, Uncle's quite approachable. Easy for you to say. Neji shot Sasuke a glare, then began pondering deeply. Did he have anything that might persuade him? He thought for a long time but couldn't come up with an answer. Removing his own caged bird seal was part of his deal with Sasuke. If other members of his clan wanted the seal removed, they'd have to figure out how to get him to agree, let alone modify the seal. Neji glanced at his hand, clenched it into a fist, and thought, first, I'll just have to strengthen myself. With power, everything becomes much easier. After all, the bargaining power of the strong differs greatly from that of the weak. In Hidden Leaf Village. Near dinner time, the usually busy Hokage building had quieted down. Shizune had gone to buy Tsunoda's dinner, leaving Tsunoda and Minato alone in the Hokage office. I see. After listening to Minato's report, Tsunoda fell into deep thought. For Kaido to proactively offer compensation was certainly a positive development. However, the specifics of Hidden Leaf Village's request would require careful consideration on her part as Hokage. She couldn't make excessive demands. It was almost laughable that Hidden Leaf Village, a powerful ninja village, was in a weaker position facing Kaido Uchiha alone, all because of the man's terrifying abilities. The incident where Kaito summoned the spirits of Uchiha before several major ninja villages had left a profound impact. The major villages understood that provoking this man would bring severe consequences. Even the 5 great shinobi villages couldn't afford it. Hidden Leaf Village, still recovering, was not in a position to fully oppose Kaido. Moreover, she glanced at Minato. No one knew if that man had left any hidden traps on the sky. But Hidden Leaf Village couldn't afford to make no demands either. They had barely saved face due to Minato's connection with him, and Hidden Leaf Village's reputation was crucial as it directly impacted the number of mission clients, which affected village revenue. Therefore, the request couldn't be too large, nor could it be too insignificant. After thinking for a while, Tsunoda couldn't make up her mind. She looked up at Minato and asked, Minato, since you know Kaido, what would you suggest as a reasonable compensation? Well, Minato scratched his cheek awkwardly. To be honest, I'm not sure what to ask for. Maybe we could ask him to resurrect one more person. Tsunoda's eyes lit up. Dan, Nawaki. And, if her grandfather were to return? No. That wouldn't work. She quickly dismissed the thought. After all, if the resurrected person ended up being controlled by Kaido, it would spell disaster. Tsunoda shook her head, dismissing Minato's suggestion. No, resurrecting more people might draw too much attention to Hidden Leaf Village, putting us in danger. I see. Minato smiled warmly as usual. In that case, I don't have any other ideas. The two stared at each other in silence until Shizune entered with the food, and still, no conclusion had been reached. Forget it. The sight of dinner in Shizune's hands seemed to lift Tsunoda's mood. She waved a hand. Let him decide. This matter is more symbolic than anything else. She accepted the chopsticks from Shizune with a casual gesture. I'm eating now, Minato. Just give him that answer. Yes, I'll be going then. Minato quickly left the office. He still needed to go home to make dinner for his son. After dinner, Kaito sat on the porch gazing at the stars when he received a call from Minato. Listening to Minato's message, his eyebrows rose in amusement. They're giving up the right to make a request. We just don't know what you're willing to offer as compensation, so it's easier to leave it to you. Minato replied, sounding somewhat helpless. I expected you'd want me to summon a resurrected soul to strengthen Hidden Leaf Village. Kaito remarked, still surprised. After a pause, Minato replied. Lady Tsunade doesn't want Hidden Leaf Village to draw too much attention. It wouldn't be good for the village. TSK, just admit it. Kaito didn't hold back. It's because you don't trust me and worry I'd secretly control the resurrected. You're not wrong. Minato admitted, sounding even more resigned. After all, even I'm not entirely trusted. Don't worry, I am quite honest. Kaito chuckled. Besides, you know what my ultimate goal is. Indeed. Minato replied, sharing the laugh. For someone whose aim is to save the world, village politics must seem petty. Exactly. I've always been peaceful and friendly. Kaito boldly declared. Our enemies come from beyond, and all who live in this world are our natural allies. Minato's voice grew excited. I understand. I'll help you. Thank you, Minato. Kaito's voice was sincere. But why not just tell everyone the truth? Minato asked, puzzled. Wouldn't uniting everyone as soon as possible be beneficial? Kaito smirked to himself. No one would believe it. That part of history has been forcibly erased from this world. Kaito, you're too pessimistic. I believed you back then. Minato encouraged him immediately. Kaito's mouth twitched. You just have a thing for saving the world. I'll give it serious thought. He finally responded. After ending the call, Kaito began pondering. What would be a suitable compensation for Hidden Leaf Village? It needed to be impressive. After all, Kaito had his pride, and a subpar compensation wouldn't be presentable. I've got it. Kaito clapped a fist into his palm. He'd give Hidden Leaf Village the method to release the caged bird seal. After all, besides him, only Tsunade, with her skillful chakra control, could execute the delicate process. The only question was, would she dare accept this hot potato? What actions would she take afterward? Thinking about it, Kaito smiled in anticipation. Chapter 193, several days had passed when Minato finally received the paper crane message from Kaito. The small paper crane flew through space and appeared before him, expanding and unfurling into a scroll that landed in his hands. As Minato unrolled it and read, his expression grew increasingly perplexed. That guy really never misses a chance to gain something. He sighed, covering his face in slight exasperation. The technique to remove the caged bird seal of the Hyuga clan was undoubtedly valuable. However, to anyone outside the Hyuga, it was also something that could bring trouble. What to do? Minato walked onto his balcony, his gaze falling on the Hokage rock in the distance. Specifically, on the statue of the fifth Hokage, Tsunade. Of course. Minato slapped his forehead. I'm no longer the Hokage. This is something for Lady Tsunade to worry about. Minato's expression relaxed, and he jumped down from the second floor, heading toward the Hokage's office at the village center. Lady Tsunade, he said as he pushed open the office door, raising his voice. The compensation from Kaito has arrived. He grinned and waved the scroll in his hand. Oh? Tsunade looked up from her paperwork, curiosity sparking as she glanced at the scroll in his hand. What did he send? For a moment, Minato's expression turned strange before he walked into the office, hiding his unease behind a casual smile. He shut the door, placed the scroll on her desk, then took a step back, gesturing to her. Open it, and you'll see. All right. She replied. As Tsunade glanced at the scroll's contents, her expression immediately changed. So that's why he agreed so readily. She frowned. This technique. If it's made public, it could lead to some serious consequences. I took a look myself. Minato explained, slightly resigned. It requires an extremely high level of chakra control. Probably only you could manage it. Damn it. Tsunade muttered, clenching her teeth. This gift was valuable, and she couldn't just disregard it. Yet at the same time, it was like holding a hot coal, especially given the delicate state of affairs at the moment. Ultimately, she didn't want to meddle in the Hyuga's internal disputes. The current situation was still under control. As Hokage, she only needed to support the winning side in the end. It was an inherent advantage. It's valuable yet too risky to use. She set the scroll aside without reading further. The Hyuga clan is divided into two factions, the main family and the branch family seeking reform. The situation is tense. If word about this technique gets out, she added in frustration, it could force the branch family to take drastic action, leading to even more chaos. Even so, holding on to this technique could benefit you. Minato responded with his usual relaxed smile. Hidden Leaf Village is a village formed by many clans, and since its founding, it's been tradition not to interfere openly in clan affairs. Even for me as Hokage. Tsunade replied, tapping her fingers on the desk. Once a precedent is set, other clans will likely resent it. It's up to you, Lady Tsunade, to decide how to handle this. Minato said, offering no further advice. You've gotten good at slacking off. Tsunade huffed, irritated. Such a strong fighter, wasting time at home taking care of kids. What a waste. Come help out. Considering I'm supposed to be dead, it's better I stay out of things. Minato declined gently. Just go. Tsunade waved him off. And keep this matter quiet. Understood. Minato replied, bowing slightly as he exited the office. Left alone, Tsunade stared at the scroll on her desk, unable to decide. She knew Kaido must have some ulterior motives in sharing this, yet she couldn't exactly fault him for it. After all, it was a genuinely valuable technique. In truth, if the Hyuga clan could lift the caged bird seal, it would benefit the village. At the very least, they wouldn't need the clan head Hayashi's approval and arrangements every time they wanted to use a Hyuga ninja. That said, most clans in the village concealed some of their strength. Even clans loyal to the Hokage faction, such as the Sarutobi and Inoshikacho clans, probably had more ninjas hidden within their families than they openly provided to the village. Only the Senju, due to the second Hokage's example, had fully invested all their power in the village, which had led to their current decline. While the remaining members fully integrated into Hidden Leaf Village, leaving an indelible Senju mark on the village, the once legendary Senju clan of the forest name had faded into obscurity. Shaking her head, Tsunade pushed away her distracting thoughts, carefully stowed the scroll with the caged bird seal release technique, and returned to her paperwork. The day quickly passed. Late at night, an Anbu with a mask silently entered through the window. Tsunade, resting her eyes in her chair, opened them to greet him. Kakashi, you're here. Hokage-sama. Removing his mask, Kakashi, dressed in full Anbu gear, approached. How's the Hyuga situation? Tsunade asked, propping her head up tiredly. The Hyuga clan is now openly divided into two factions, the main family and their loyal branch family members, and the branch family pushing for reform. Kakashi stated calmly. So the branch family members seeking reform no longer bother hiding? Tsunade questioned. Has Hayashi lost control? Yes. Kakashi confirmed. Even as the head of the main family with the caged bird seal control, Hayashi can't suppress that many people at once. Plus, there are some clever individuals among the branch family. Kakashi said, his expression a bit amused. They didn't confront the main family directly but instead respectfully presented their demands. In doing so, Hayashi can't respond too harshly. Tsunade observed. After all, they're family by blood. If he's too cold-hearted, it may backfire. I see. Tsunade let out a small sigh of relief. The situation isn't entirely out of control, then. Kakashi's eyes curved into a smile. Besides, this is the information the Hyuga clan has chosen to present us with. After all, we don't have a way to escape detection by the Byakugan. This is part of the unspoken understanding between the village and the clans. Tsunade sighed. The village won't interfere with internal clan matters, but we still need some level of intel, just in case. For now, let's leave it as it is. Tsunade stood up. You may rest. Now that things have stabilized, I'll assign Anbu to monitor the Hyuga clan. Yes, Hokage-sama. Kakashi swiftly leaped out the window, disappearing into the night. Chapter 194. On the same day, Kaido began using his paper clone to remove the caged bird curse seal on Neji. In a dim room illuminated by candlelight, the blue glow from the spell formation gradually faded. It's done. Kaido withdrew his hand from Neji's forehead and stood up. Since it involved delicate operations on the brain and soul, the curse seal removal process was painstakingly long. Lying in the formation, Neji was already drenched in sweat but eagerly opened his Byakugan. The blind spot that the curse seal created had completely disappeared, and now, a full 360-degree field of vision clearly presented itself in his sight. Neji blinked his eyes, letting tears fall freely. He touched his forehead, noticing that the ugly mark left by the curse seal was gone. Thank you so much. He rose, stepped out of the formation, and gave Kaito a deep bow. Neji was so moved that even his hands trembled. No need to thank me. This was part of the deal with Sasuke. Kaito said, helping him up. Just be careful from now on. The Byakugan is very distinctive, and those who covet it might come after you. Just cover your forehead, those bastards won't know that the caged bird curse seal on Neji has been removed. Sasuke folded his arms, somewhat unconcerned. Silly boy. Kaido shook his head at Sasuke. The fact that Neji, as a member of the Hyuga branch family, has become a rogue ninja already indicates some issues. While others may not know for sure if the cursed seal was removed, there are always people in the shinobi world willing to take risks for money and power. I didn't think of that. Sasuke turned away, slightly embarrassed. Alright, it's up to you both how to proceed from here. Kaido's body began to turn transparent. Goodbye. After the paper clone disappeared, Neji snapped out of his thoughts. Darn, I forgot to get closer to Sasuke's uncle. He was a bit frustrated but didn't show it. My injuries have healed. He told Sasuke. We can leave now. Sasuke immediately perked up. Great. We'll set off tomorrow. The next day, the two bid farewell to Lady Cat, Juan, and the ninja cats, who were all swayed by catnip drinks, as they left the outskirts. Inside his lab, after sending Hisashi's soul back to the Pure Land, Kaito sat down in his chair, feeling a bit weary. The slight confusion in his thoughts due to his recent mental upgrade had vanished, and Kaito could feel his mental energy becoming more viscous. Additionally, his perception range had expanded without relying on Ryoku, making the use of his Mengekyo Sharingan feel much easier. However, he was too preoccupied to focus on these changes. He was waiting for the memory of his paper clone that had removed Neji's curse seal to return. After a while, his eyes lit up. It finally worked. He immediately pulled himself together and quickly began writing. Indeed, the compensation he had sent to Hidden Lee Village earlier had only been theoretical. This time, after he personally removed the curse seal from Neji, the method of removing the curse seal could be considered foolproof. Furthermore, through research, he had discovered the hidden secret within the caged bird cursed seal. The techniques embedded in the caged bird cursed seal were strikingly similar to the sealing techniques carved on the crystal in the Uchiha ancestral stone tablet. According to Kaido's hypothesis, the crystal sealing Kaguya's consciousness was very likely Kaguya Otsutsuki's handiwork. And there were 3 people who inherited Kaguya Otsutsuki's knowledge: Hagoromo, Hamura, and Black Zetsu. As for Black Zetsu, Kaido didn't know much, except that he was Kaguya's backup plan. Their only direct encounter had been in a dream world. However, he remembered Black Zetsu addressing Kaguya as mother. Although he didn't know what powers these individuals might possess, Kaito knew that a behind-the-scenes mastermind hiding in the shinobi world for 1,000 years wouldn't be simple. Back to the main point, the caged bird curse seal of the Hyuga clan didn't seem like something of their own making. With the caged bird curse seal, the Hyuga clan has survived without breaking their lineage. If their ancestor Hamura had left a legacy, it's unlikely that it would have been lost. The Hyuga clan would not have remained in their stagnant position for so long. So, among the 3 mentioned earlier, if it was one of them who turned the Hyuga clan into caged birds, what was their goal? This was the question Kaido had pondered. Now, at the moment of lifting Neji's curse, he had found an answer. The ancient cursed seal appeared to have some connection to the moon. At that moment, the paper clone had keenly sensed that the moment the caged bird curse seal was lifted, a connection was severed. But that was enough for Kaido to form a theory. At this moment, Kaido filled several sheets of paper with writing before putting down his pen. He pushed his chair back, stood up, and left the lab. Barefoot on the wooden floor, it creaked as he walked down the corridor and stepped onto the stone tiles outside, lifting his head to gaze at the bright moon in the night sky. It just so happened to be a full moon. Kaido sat down on the wooden floor of the corridor, studying the patterns on the moon. Why did Hamura, who guarded Kaguya's seal, choose to leave the Hyuga clan on Earth? Is the caged bird curse seal both control and restriction? Why has it been passed down in the Hyuga clan? Besides the sealed Kaguya, what other secrets lie on the moon? Is someone on the moon watching the Earth through the Hyuga clan? These were questions he wanted answers to. Perhaps I should make time to take a trip to the moon, Kaido thought. He had actually had this idea for a long time but hadn't acted on it out of caution regarding Hamura. However, even now, he still held reservations. Should he take Nagao's King of Hell body first? Kaido gazed at the moon in silence, his mind racing with various thoughts. Kaido. A gentle voice sounded in his ear, interrupting his thoughts. Hands hugged his waist, and a warm body pressed against his back. Yuri? Turning his head slightly, Kaido found Yuri resting her chin on his shoulder. For a moment, their faces were incredibly close, their breaths intertwining. Yuri's gaze shifted, and her face reddened as she quickly let go of Kaido, standing beside him and then sitting down, acting as if nothing had happened. She glanced briefly at Kaido before looking away. What are you doing out here so late, Kaido? Watching the moon. Kaido answered honestly, his cheeks slightly flushed. Thinking about the Otsutsuki again? Yuri rested her chin in her hands. No, I'm curious about Hamura. Hamura? Huh? I'm sorry, all I know is that he went to the moon. It's alright. Someday we'll face him. I just don't know if we'll be friends or enemies then. Looks like you're ready to act again? Yes, but I'm not rushing. At least not until Sasuke and Itachi's issues are settled. Chapter 195, in a dimly lit cave, the colossal Judo statue loomed, with phantom figures standing on its 10 fingertips. From the statue's mouth emerged energy surrounding a tall man wearing a straw hat and red armor. As time passed, the energy withdrew back into the statue's mouth, and the lifeless man fell from midair. With this, the 5 tails is sealed. Deidara relaxed his hands from forming seals. Who will take care of the 6 tails next? We've located the 6 tails Jinchuriki's hiding place, and I'll handle it, said Pain's voice. Hey, taking on both the 5 tails and now the 6 tails. Kisame laughed. Leader, you've been quite busy lately. There are other tasks for you all. Conan interjected. Which is why Pain will handle the 6 tails. Hey, Conan-senpai. If it's a mission, Tobi's up for it. Tobi chimed in playfully, waving his arm. Ignoring him, Conan continued assigning tasks. Then, except for Kisame and Itachi, I expect the rest to complete your mission swiftly. Pain severed the link, retracting the Judo statue. Once the others disappeared, only Pain, Conan, and the apparitions of Kisame and Itachi remained. Leader, do you have a special mission for us? Kisame asked. Itachi. Pain said, staring at Itachi's expressionless face. Go see your brother. Itachi's eyes narrowed slightly. What exactly would you like me to do? Your brother, Sasuke Uchiha, has been with Kaido Uchiha, correct? Pain replied calmly. Capture him and bring him to me. I need information on Kaido. What do you think, Mr. Itachi? Kisame teased. Itachi remained silent. Of course, I know of your intentions. Pain's voice grew colder. Itachi, your brother, whom you purposely left alive, has now awakened those eyes. It's time for you to harvest the fruits of your labor. I understand. I'll find him. Itachi replied briefly, falling silent afterward. Very well. Pain then completely severed the link. Pain, Itachi probably won't do as you say. Conan said, approaching Pain. I know. Itachi Uchiha has never truly been one of us. Pain said emotionlessly. Do you have another plan, then? Conan asked. Yes. Pain replied, heading toward the cave's exit. Zetsu and Tobi will keep an eye on them. Tobi? That guy isn't trustworthy either. Conan followed him. It doesn't matter. For now, Tobi and Zetsu's goals align with ours. Pain explained. Once we capture Sasuke Uchiha, Kaido Uchiha won't be an issue. Speaking of which, it seems strange that Kaido would let Sasuke wander alone. Conan noted, a bit hesitant. We should proceed cautiously. Zetsu has confirmed that Sasuke can summon that man who calls himself Izune Uchiha. Pain said. As well as Kaido's clone. Understood. Conan smiled. With most of the tailed beasts sealed, our plan is progressing smoothly. Pain affirmed. Yahiko's dream will come true. Land of Birds. As Kisame and Itachi exited their hiding place, a white Zetsu clone suddenly burst out of the ground, revealing half of its body in front of them. Yo. Good afternoon, you two. The half-buried white Zetsu raised a hand in greeting. Kisame and Itachi looked at him with cold expressions, saying nothing. You're both so cold. White Zetsu joked, feigning a pout. Cut the chatter. Kisame lifted his bandaged sword and struck the ground beside Zetsu, causing rocks to splatter on his face. With a toothy grin, Kisame asked. So, what is it? I'll tell you. White Zetsu quickly surrendered. Itachi's brother has entered the land of rivers and is heading towards the land of rain. I understand. Itachi nodded and turned to Kisame. Let's go. Yes, Mr. Itachi. Kisame lifted his sword and casually swung it over his shoulder. The two walked past Zetsu without a glance. Hey. Are you ignoring me? White Zetsu called after them, sinking back into the ground with a grumble. Kisame laughed. Your little brother sure has guts, heading straight for the land of rain. If he's unlucky enough to run into the boss, we won't even have to step in. Just ignorance. Itachi said, his face still expressionless. You're quite the cold-hearted brother. Kisame teased. However, Mr. Itachi really does care about his little brother. Kisame discreetly observed Itachi's clenched fist and quickened pace. Land of Rivers. So, the Akatsuki are the true rulers of the Hidden Rain Village? Neji asked in shock, staring at Sasuke. That's right. Sasuke nodded calmly. Wait. Neji jumped in front of Sasuke, blocking him with an outstretched hand. What is it? Sasuke frowned. Neji seemed conflicted, finally speaking with frustration. If you know the Akatsuki are in the Hidden Rain, how do you expect the two of us to get in there and find Itachi Uchiha? I wasn't planning on barging in. Sasuke replied, looking at him curiously. Just to search for any traces of Itachi's movements. That's not acceptable. Neji argued. As far as I know, the Akatsuki members are dangerous. Even if we find Itachi, you can't fight him in the Land of Rain. If we draw in other dangerous members, we're done for. Sasuke thought about it, admitting Neji had a point. So, what do we do? He asked directly. How should I know? Neji felt a pang of frustration but suggested. Use a summoning creature to scout. We can wait until Itachi Uchiha leaves the Land of Rain before we move. How long will that take? Sasuke wasn't thrilled with the idea. But he looked at Neji. If we encounter other enemies, I might not be able to protect this weaker guy. Fine, better listen to him, or he might end up dead by accident. After all, I'm the one who brought him out of Hidden Leaf Village. As team leader, it's my responsibility. Alright. He finally nodded. Neji felt a bit irritated by Sasuke's look, snapping. Hey. What's with that look? Nothing. Sasuke coughed, looking away. If we're waiting, use this time to train. I don't need you to tell me that. Neji growled, his face darkening and a vein popping on his forehead. This guy clearly looks down on me. Does he think he's hiding it well? Chapter 196. After handing the reconnaissance task over to the crows, Sasuke and Neji settled down in a regular town in a land of rivers. The two trained diligently in a secluded forest outside town during the day, using transformation jutsu to return to town for rest at night. Since the Land of Rivers didn't have its own ninja village, they weren't overly cautious. However, by the next morning, the crows brought back news of Itachi. You're saying Itachi has already arrived in the Land of Rivers? Sasuke asked in surprise. That's right, Ka. Jin flapped his wings, hovering before Sasuke. Itachi and that shark-faced ninja have already entered the Land of Rivers. Didn't expect to find him so quickly. Sasuke tightened his grip on his blade, a smirk forming. And he's so close by. Maybe they're coming for you? Neji guessed. Huh, I'd welcome that. Sasuke replied, laughing with excitement. Let's go. He looked at the crow. Jin, please lead the way. No problem, Ka. This way, Sasuke-sama. Jin said, taking off high into the sky. Let's go. Sasuke signaled to Neji as he followed the crow. I guess I didn't have much use in helping him find his target. Neji sighed and followed behind. It was an abandoned village overgrown with weeds. Some of the collapsed houses bore burn marks, with dead trees impaled by rusted kunai and shuriken, all showing the scars of an old war. Caw. 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 Enough with the noise, why so many crows? Kisame picked at his ear, looking at the many crows flying through the sky and perched on dead trees. Itachi looked up, his Sharingan spinning as he observed the crows. They have chakra, they're summon beasts. Kisame grinned. So, a crow summoner like you, Itachi-san? Could it be your little brother? Let's wait here. Itachi said, slipping his left hand, which had been hanging by his collar, into his sleeve. I won't interfere in your family matter. Kisame said with a toothy grin. As your comrade, I'll make sure no one else disturbs you. Itachi looked into Kisame's eyes, nodding after a long pause. Thank you. It's nothing. Kisame chuckled, walking toward the outskirts of the village with his large sword. At the same time, Zetsu and Tobi appeared in the forest outside the village. This is the place, the battleground of the last two Uchiha brothers. White Zetsu said with some excitement. Hey, Itachi's eyes won't last much longer. Black Zetsu remarked coldly. Tobi spoke. Whether one falls or both survive, one of them will gain the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Hey, are you comfortable letting Sasuke have Itachi's eyes? White Zetsu asked curiously. That boy. Black Zetsu hesitated for once. Unfortunately, Kaito is backing him. Tobi sneered. We'll see how things play out between them. Whichever brother remains won't escape our grasp. Caw. The crow's call echoed once again. In the forest, Sasuke and Neji stopped. Byakugan. Neji formed a hand seal, activating his Byakugan. 2 in the abandoned village ahead. 1 outside and 1 inside. 2 others at 9 o'clock in the mountain forest. TCH, seems they were prepared as well. Sasuke said, frowning. Neji continued. The one outside. I encountered him during the battle to retrieve the Kazekage. His chakra is immense, I doubt I could take him on. Sasuke nodded. What about the 2 on the mountain? They give off an odd feeling. Neji said hesitantly. Both of them are unusual. How so? Sasuke asked, turning to him. One seems to be 2 people fused together. The other. Neji continued. The other has an unsettling presence and also possesses the Sharingan. Understood. Sasuke thought for a moment, then stepped toward the forest edge. Don't worry, I can summon backup. Alright. Neji said, touching his forehead, still wrapped in bandages. Considering the reward. He. Standing at the village entrance, Kisame bared his teeth. So you've come, Itachi little brother. Humphrey. Sasuke stared at him unflinchingly. Itachi's comrade? We've met before, little brother. I'm Hoshigaki Kisame, Itachi-san's partner. Kisame replied with a grin. Sasuke looked past Kisame at the abandoned village and asked. Is Itachi in there? That's right. Kisame replied, lowering his large sword to the ground. But only you may enter. I'll handle this. Neji took a deep breath, getting into a gentle fist stance. Neji? Sasuke looked at him, surprised. Neji focused on Kisame, saying. I'm not doing this to help you. It's just that the reward I received is too precious. I have to repay it somehow. Don't be so tense, Byakugan boy. Kisame said, gripping his sword's handle. I'm only here to stop you, not to attack. I have no intention of joining Sasuke's fight, either. Neji replied, still on guard. But I will keep you here. Interesting. Kisame remarked, then turned back to Sasuke. Go on, little one, my name is Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke said, gripping his blade and walking past Kisame. He glanced back at Neji. Neji, stay safe. Mind yourself. Neji retorted irritably. Humphrey. Sasuke smirked, turning back and striding toward the village's interior. Among the crumbling walls and dead vines, Itachi stood quietly in the center of the village ruins, watching as a black-haired boy steadily approached from the distance. Sasuke walked forward with unwavering steps, neither too fast nor too slow, his gaze locked firmly on that familiar figure. As they neared, the two brothers finally met each other's eyes. Sasuke stopped. Itachi. His voice was calm. All the intense emotions of hatred were deeply buried inside him. His pride wouldn't allow him to lose control before this man again. Sasuke. Itachi's tone was equally calm. Sasuke knew everything now, there was no need to provoke his emotions further. I don't care why you did all those things. Sasuke gripped his sword tightly. Today, it ends here. Show me, then. Itachi took a step forward, slowly approaching Sasuke. What has given you the courage to stand before me? Then watch closely. Sasuke's gaze remained on Itachi's eyes. By your own logic, if I win, you'll be at my mercy. My foolish little brother, if you lose. Itachi plucked 4 shuriken and threw them. Then obediently give me your eyes. Enough with. Sasuke moved his left hand to his sword guard. Such nonsense. Blade draw. Clang, clang, clang. The gleaming blade sliced through the spaces between the shuriken, instantly closing the distance between them. In a blink, the sharp edge was already inches from Itachi's face. Chapter 197, a cold flash streaked through the air as Sasuke charged forward, sword in hand, appearing behind Itachi. However, the Itachi who stood behind him, sliced in half, suddenly transformed into a swirling flock of crows. Caw! Caw! The sky-darkening swarm of crows flapped their wings furiously, scattering black feathers as they descended from the heavens. Humphrey! The Tomoe in Sasuke's Sharingan spun as he pushed off the ground and slashed decisively toward another spot. Clang! From within the dense flock of crows, Itachi materialized, his kunai intercepting Sasuke's blade. Their 3 Tomoe Sharingan locked gazes, and the two brothers pressed against each other with unyielding force. Moments later, both figures blurred into afterimages, their blades and kunai clashing in rapid succession. Sparks flew as the weapons collided again and again. Meanwhile, the crows summoned by Sasuke took flight from their perches on branches and in the sky, letting out harsh cries as they dove fiercely toward Itachi's flock. The 2 flocks of crows clashed in midair, feathers and blood spilling together as the injured and dead birds fell. The swirling currents of their battle mingled with the chaotic winds stirred by Sasuke and Itachi's relentless duel. Clang! 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 The sound of metal echoed continuously as Sasuke's blade danced with a frosty gleam, slicing the air and tearing through the scattered feathers. Itachi wielded kunai in both hands, his movements precise and measured, effortlessly countering Sasuke's fierce swordsmanship. Occasionally, he would throw a kunai at close range to disrupt Sasuke's rhythm. As time passed, Sasuke's blade moved faster and faster, while Itachi's pace seemed to slow. Sasuke's brows furrowed, his focus on Itachi intensifying, but frustration bubbled in his heart. What's going on? Why isn't this working? He clenched his teeth, desperate. I've trained so hard to perfect this swordsmanship. Why doesn't it work? Faster. I need to be faster. But the more he pushed, the more futile it seemed. Meanwhile, Itachi's movements grew increasingly fluid, as if dancing effortlessly around Sasuke's attacks. Clang. Suddenly, Itachi shifted gears, blocking Sasuke's overhead slash with his left kunai while driving his right foot into Sasuke's chest. Ugh! Sasuke grunted as he was sent flying. Seizing the moment, Itachi hurled a barrage of kunai and shuriken in a tight formation. Ah! Sasuke roared, enduring the pain in his chest as he swung his sword midair. The gleaming blade traced a brilliant arc, deflecting the incoming projectiles. Twisting his body, he spun rapidly, striking down the rebounding weapons that had altered their trajectory. When Sasuke landed, Itachi also paused, and the fallen weapons clattered to the ground. Caw! 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 The cries of crows filled the sky as injured and dying birds plummeted. Blood and feathers splattered onto the battlefield below, blending with the chaos stirred by their duel. Sasuke exhaled slowly. He knew his summoned crows would merely vanish if injured, but the dead birds were undoubtedly Itachi's. The crows under Itachi's control had once been wild, trained by Shizue from a young age. They couldn't compare to the demon bloodline crows on Sasuke's side. Itachi's gaze pierced through the drifting feathers and blood, meeting Sasuke's eyes, calm and unyielding. This is the swordsmanship you pride yourself on, Sasuke? Itachi raised his hands. It's disappointing. Sasuke took a deep breath and exhaled slowly, steadying himself. I understand my mistake now. I can't afford to be impatient. He silently reminded himself. No matter who stands before me, I must keep my heart as still as water. Lowering his eyes briefly, he opened them once more. He felt the warmth and weight of the sword in his hand, and the emotions in his gaze gradually faded. Itachi, meanwhile, had begun forming hand seals at a rapid pace. Sasuke brought his hands together as well, quickly completing a seal. Fire style. Fire style, great fireball. Itachi's right hand moved to his mouth, and his cheeks puffed up as he exhaled a raging inferno. Chidori blade. Lightning crackled along Sasuke's sword, the arc stretching out into an extended blade of pure electricity. The rolling fireball surged forward, but Sasuke's electrified blade split it cleanly in two. Chidori. Sasuke gripped his sword tightly with both hands, pointing it at Itachi. Sharp spear. The lightning blade extended even further, spanning more than 10 meters in an instant. As the spear-like blade closed in, Itachi used the teleportation jutsu to evade, moving swiftly across the battlefield. Sasuke swung his sword in pursuit, the elongated blade carving through ruins and dead trees with ease. Boom! Collapsed stone and timber fell along smooth, clean cuts, sending clouds of dust into the air as Itachi's silhouette disappeared within. TCH. Sasuke retracted his lightning blade, his Sharingan scanning for signs of movement. You've grown stronger, Sasuke. Itachi's voice came from above as he hurled a shuriken and formed hand seals. Fire style. Fire style, rage of sages, flame of phoenixes. Jutsu. Multiple fireballs shot from his mouth, encasing the airborne shuriken. The fiery projectiles rained down on Sasuke. I don't need your acknowledgement. Lightning surged fiercely around Sasuke's hand as he threw it forward. Chidori Senbon. A barrage of lightning needles shot upward, colliding with the fire-wreathed shuriken. The sharp needles extinguished the flames, and the spent projectiles clattered to the ground. Meanwhile, Itachi formed another set of seals. Fire style. Dragon flame jutsu. A fiery dragon roared through the air, its massive form barreling toward Sasuke. Sasuke leapt into the air, extending his lightning blade once more. Twisting his body, he cleaved through the dragon's fiery head. As flames scattered across the battlefield, Sasuke landed deftly, slicing through more projectiles mid-leap. If this is all you've got, why did you come here, Sasuke? Itachi's voice echoed across the battlefield. Sasuke landed just beyond the flames and looked up. Itachi stood atop a crumbling wall, gazing down imperiously. Don't look at me with those eyes. A purple mark appeared on Sasuke's face as his aura surged violently. Take this seriously, Itachi. He swung his sword once and gripped it tightly with both hands. Or you'll regret it. Oh? Is this your newfound power? Itachi remained composed, still looking down on him. Show me, then. Or are you just boasting? Chapter 198, Under the infusion of Sage Chakra, the lightning in Sasuke's hand emitted a sharp screech, and the blade of lightning began to vibrate violently. Itachi. Sasuke's feet left deep imprints on the ground as he leaped into the air once more, rapidly closing in on Itachi, who stood on higher ground, with his blade of lightning swinging fiercely. Itachi dodged to the side, and the blade in Sasuke's hand sliced through the crumbling wall where Itachi had been standing. Kicking off a falling piece of rubble, Sasuke once again launched himself in Itachi's direction. No weapon could withstand the blade of lightning in Sasuke's hand, leaving Itachi with no choice but to dodge desperately. However, in Sage mode, Sasuke seemed to be reborn, with both his strength and speed enhanced significantly. Itachi found it increasingly difficult to shake him off. The two darted through one abandoned building after another, with Sasuke's blade shattering the ruins as he pursued Itachi relentlessly. No one can defend forever. Finally, when Itachi retreated to a narrow corner, Sasuke had blocked all his escape routes. Sizzle. The blade pierced through Itachi's abdomen, penetrating his body and the wall behind him. Lightning flickered as Itachi's body went limp, losing all strength to resist. I won't kill you, Itachi. Sasuke stared into Itachi's eyes. I want you to live in eternal regret. Sasuke. Blood trickled from the corner of Itachi's mouth as he raised a trembling hand, reaching towards Sasuke's eyes. Sasuke's expression suddenly darkened. You bastard. Stop playing these tricks. The lightning in Sasuke's hand surged, and Itachi's body stiffened, as a crow crawled out of his mouth. This level of illusion. Sasuke slashed, cutting Itachi's body in half, only to watch it dissolve into a flock of illusory crows. He turned around, raising his blade toward Itachi, who stood under a withered tree behind him. Stop joking around already. Another Sasuke appeared behind Itachi, piercing his abdomen with a blade once more. Itachi looked down at the blade emerging from his abdomen and then raised his head with a faint smile. So, you still don't intend to kill me, Sasuke? The Sasuke in front of him said nothing and dissolved into a flock of crows as well. But Itachi turned his head to the Sasuke crouching behind him. I must have your eyes. With an eerie smile, Itachi's body suddenly began to swell. Boom. Itachi's body exploded violently in a fiery blaze. A clone explosion? The charred and smoking Sasuke smirked, then vanished in a puff of white smoke. In the distant forests. What an incredible battle. White Zetsu said. Who will win in the end? Black Zetsu replied. Kaito Uchiha has yet to appear. Does that mean Sasuke has a better chance of winning? White Zetsu asked. Should we provide Itachi with assistance? Let's wait and see. Black Zetsu said. For some reason, I have an ominous feeling. Obito. He suddenly commanded. If Kaito Uchiha appears, you'll be responsible for bringing Nagato over. The sinister single eye of Obito turned toward them. We'll decide once Kaito Uchiha shows up. With that, he turned his gaze back toward the village. Unbeknownst to Black Zetsu, Kaito was observing everything through Obito's eye. Back in the village, Sasuke and Itachi stood on opposite ends of the rooftop of the village's tallest building. The ruined village was now ablaze, with flames engulfing the remains of houses that occasionally collapsed with a deafening roar. Itachi's body seemed unsteady, and he was breathing heavily. Although Sasuke was drenched in sweat, he remained relatively composed. Hey! Sasuke let out a mocking laugh. Itachi. Has your body deteriorated to this extent? I didn't expect you to reach such a level, Sasuke. Itachi swayed but steadied himself, raising his eyes to meet Sasuke's still vigorous gaze, a faint smile on his lips. As their eyes locked, Itachi Sharingan transformed, the three tomoe merging into the shape of a spinning windmill. Tsukami. Under the crimson sky, a black sea stretched endlessly. Sasuke stood with his arms spread wide, bound firmly to a wooden cross. What is this? Sasuke twisted his neck to look around. So this is the famed Tsukami? Indeed. Itachi's figure appeared before him. You shouldn't have come after me, Sasuke. Don't joke with me. Sasuke's eyes also shifted, transforming into the Mangekyo Sharingan. I won't let you off that easily, you bastard. Itachi grabbed Sasuke's collar and leaned in close. If Kaito Uchiha has told you anything, you should understand my situation. Do you think I'm your only enemy? I know. Sasuke locked eyes with him at close range. Neji has already seen it. Including you, there are 4 of them. And the guy on the mountain with the Sharingan. He's Obito, isn't he? You'd better bring Kaito to help you as soon as possible. Itachi said sternly. That guy, Obito, is a very dangerous lunatic. Ha 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 ha. Sasuke suddenly burst out laughing, his whole body shaking with amusement. What's so funny? Itachi tightened his grip on Sasuke's collar. There's something even you don't know. Sasuke's face twisted with malice. It seems our uncle has already excluded you. Excluded me? Itachi released Sasuke's collar weakly, taking a step back. What has he done now? Of course. Saving the world. Sasuke's joy seemed unparalleled. So satisfying. This guy loves acting on his own, doesn't he? Let's see how he likes it. I won't tell you. Sasuke said, his malice seeping out. Our plan doesn't need you. That's because you're too weak. Sasuke. Itachi smiled bitterly. And after saving the world? What do you mean, after? Sasuke looked at him curiously. Even if I believe in Kaito's so-called plan, what happens afterward? Unlike him, you're a ninja. You'll need a proper environment and companions who are also ninja. Hey. Sasuke sneered with a peculiar expression. Don't tell me you want me to go back to Hidden Leaf Village? You're a ninja. Itachi said firmly. Your paths are different. You can't always follow Kaido, an Onmyoji. Don't you know? Sasuke smirked. The last time I went to Hidden Leaf Village, I took Neji of the Hyuga clan with me when I defected. I know. Itachi remained unmoved. But that's not the issue. My contributions are enough to protect you and the Uchiha name. Hey, if you're so eager to return to Hidden Leaf Village. Sasuke suddenly broke free from the cross and punched Itachi in the face. Then go back yourself. Another punch. I've already prepared a place for you. And another. Right in the Uchiha clan's graveyard. Chapter 199, Itachi's body was sent flying by Sasuke's punch, but Sasuke immediately followed up, raising his fist once more. Sasuke. A hand extended from behind him and grasped his wrist. Sasuke twisted his body, launching a kick backward. Itachi let go and retreated, narrowly avoiding Sasuke's kick. Are you angry? Is it because I wanted you to return to Hidden Leaf Village? I only thought it best for you to return to a ninja village, and Hidden Leaf Village is the most suitable. Don't act on impulse. Think it through, Sasuke. Itachi's voice echoed from all directions. Sasuke's eyes swept over the surroundings. Within the Tsukuyomi space, countless clones of Itachi had appeared, forming a circle that surrounded him. What nonsense are you spouting? Sasuke's eyes spun rapidly. From the moment I left Hidden Leaf Village, I never planned on going back. You must consider your future. I've already made up my mind. Sasuke turned, glaring in the direction of Itachi's voice. You bastard. Stop interfering with my life. Don't let your emotions dictate your actions, Sasuke. Itachi's voice came from another direction. That's not the behavior of a proper ninja. Sasuke turned his head again, gritting his teeth. Stop lecturing me. Leaping into the air, Sasuke conjured a blade out of thin air and slashed toward one of Itachi's clones. I'm just concerned about my foolish little brother. One of Itachi's clones stepped forward, conjuring an ninja sword in its hand and meeting Sasuke head-on. Clang. The two blades clashed violently. Your mastery of yin style isn't bad. Itachi remarked, observing the blade Sasuke had just conjured. He sidestepped and delivered a kick. However, in this Tsukuyomi space under my control, this level of effort won't let you escape. Sasuke used the force of the blade clash to leap backward, extending his left hand. Uncle once told me. Sasuke smirked. The Tsukuyomi technique ultimately comes down to a battle of spiritual energy between the caster and the victim. In an instant, countless kunai appeared around him, flying in all directions as he waved his hand. With my current strength, my spiritual energy far surpasses yours. Sasuke declared triumphantly. Though some of Itachi's clones managed to block the kunai with ninja swords, most were pierced, vanishing into thin air. It seems I underestimated you. Itachi admitted. His clones converged rapidly, merging into a single form. Don't let your guard down, Sasuke. This is still my domain. In this illusory space, the dark red sky grew even dimmer. What's happening? Sasuke frowned, gazing upward. Black clouds swirled rapidly across the red sky, and a pair of enormous eyes, identical to Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan, slowly opened. As those cold, merciless eyes fully revealed themselves and cast their gaze downward, Sasuke found his movements frozen, as if he were an insect trapped in amber, completely immobilized. In this Tsukuyomi space, even time is under my control. Itachi said, stepping toward Sasuke. We have plenty of time to talk. Sasuke's forehead veins bulged in frustration. I have nothing more to say to you. Perhaps I should have stopped Kaido from taking you away back then. Itachi placed a hand on Sasuke's shoulder. You're becoming increasingly consumed by the narrow-minded views of the clan. And what's wrong with that? Sasuke's hatred burned through his gaze, locking onto Itachi. Isn't it normal to place family above all else? We are not ordinary people. Itachi countered calmly. We are shinobi. So what if we are shinobi? Does having power mean we're no longer human? Sasuke's Sharingan burned brighter, glowing crimson. Who do you think you are? Tears of blood streamed from his eyes. A self-righteous fratricide chasing after your ideals. What right do you have to lecture me? Boom. A massive surge of spiritual energy erupted from Sasuke, causing the Tsukuyomi space to shake violently. Cracks resembling blood-red fractures appeared in the space. You left me behind, didn't you? Sasuke snarled, grabbing Itachi by the collar. In the end, other people just don't matter as much as your ideals. It was for your own good, Sasuke. Itachi replied, his voice heavy with sorrow. If I had a choice. Sasuke stared fiercely into Itachi's eyes. I would rather fight and die alongside my family than live alone. No matter your reasons, I will never forgive you, Itachi. The cracks in the Tsukuyomi's face expanded rapidly as Sasuke plunged his blade into Itachi's chest. Never. With the sound of shattering glass, the Tsukuyomi's face completely collapsed. Back in the ruined village, both Sasuke and Itachi staggered, clutching their eyes as tears of blood streamed down. As they lowered their hands and locked eyes, they spoke in unison. Amaterasu. Blazing black flames ignited out of nowhere, colliding fiercely in midair. The flames surged and recoiled, forcing Sasuke and Itachi to retreat to separate treetops, glaring at each other through the raging fire. Sasuke raised his right hand high and slashed it downward. Kagetsuchi. The black flames writhed and morphed, forming countless fireballs that rained down upon Itachi like a storm. A technique to control Amaterasu's flames. Itachi mused as he watched the fireballs descend. It seems you've gained remarkable abilities. Scarlet chakra enveloped him as a translucent skeletal figure materialized, quickly growing muscle, flesh, and armor. Susanoo. Itachi's Susanoo raised its left hand, summoning an enormous shield out of thin air, which deflected the black fireballs. Is that? White Zetsu exclaimed, staring at the scene in the village below. The Yata mirror. Black Zetsu's tone carried a hint of awe. The Amaterasu flames, said to be the ultimate offensive technique, are matched against the legendary indestructible divine shield. What a sight! White Zetsu marveled. For Itachi to possess such a divine artifact. It's impossible to predict the outcome now. Itachi is truly fortunate. Black Zetsu grumbled. That's a mythical treasure. Obi chuckled coldly. Having used Tsukuyomi, Amaterasu, and Susanoo consecutively, Itachi's eyes won't last much longer. Chapter 200, Susanoo. Sasuke leaped down from the withered treetop as the upper half of a purple giant manifested around him. Sage mode. Dark purple markings swiftly spread, covering the armor of the purple giant. The purple giant held a bow in one hand and an arrow in the other. It notched the long arrow onto the massive bow and aimed at Itachi, pulling back the bowstring. The giant arrow ignited with black flames and shot forward with a sharp whistle, striking the red giant. Boom! The red giant raised its shield again to block. A violent explosion erupted, and black flames spread out. Yasaka Magatama. 3 massive red Magatama beads connected in a chain were flung by the red giant, spinning rapidly toward the purple giant. The purple giant raised its circular bow-like shield to block the attack. Itachi. Sasuke commanded his purple giant to charge toward the red giant, thrusting the arrow in its right hand fiercely forward. Clang. The red giant raised its shield once again to defend. At the same time, its right hand grasped a massive gourd, from which golden energy poured out, forming a giant sword. Clang. 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 The purple giant used its bow as a shield and its arrow as a sword, engaging the red giant in close combat. The violent clashes echoed across the sky, and soon, the abandoned village was completely flattened by the battle between the two giants. Within the mountain forest. That's the Totsuka blade. White Zetsu muttered. How many treasures has Itachi hidden? This must be Itachi's trump card. Black Zetsu said gravely. Unfortunately, against Sasuke, he can only use it as a regular sword. White Zetsu chuckled. Indeed. After all, Itachi still wants Sasuke's eyes, he can't just seal him into the gourd. Obi scoffed. Itachi's outward intentions rarely reflect his true thoughts. Who knows? Black Zetsu replied. Itachi is a born ninja, no one truly knows what he's thinking. Damn it. Is the gap really this vast? Neji, with his Byakugan activated, watched the earth-shaking battle from afar, his face involuntarily showing astonishment. Since Kisame claimed he had no reason to fight him, Neji had been observing Sasuke's battle through his Byakugan. By now, his indomitable spirit was dimmed. The Uchiha clan truly deserved its reputation, once overshadowing even the Hyuga clan. Neji clenched his fists tightly. From what he had seen, no matter how much the Hyuga clan honed their gentle fist to its peak, it could never compare to the power displayed by the Uchiha brothers before him. For a moment, he felt lost. This wasn't something that hard work or talent could bridge. It was the disparity in their very bloodlines. How am I supposed to catch up? Hey, feeling crushed, Byakugan kid? Kisame teased. It's just how this world works. People are born with despair-inducing differences. Neji snapped back to alertness. I already know that. Of course, you do. Kisame sat down, watching the battle from afar. After all, with your Byakugan, you're already stronger than most. And you too. Neji retorted. With that absurd amount of chakra inside you. Neji wouldn't admit it, but Kisame's chakra always startled him when he observed it. Kisame grinned, running his hand over his sword. I'd suggest you leave, Byakugan kid. If Itachi wins, you won't get away. Neji tensed but replied coldly. I won't run away. Suit yourself. Kisame said, sounding bored. But this time, you won't have a rare beast like Guy to save you. Guy-sensei. Neji's face showed a hint of emotion, but he quickly suppressed it. Boom. The fierce collision between the two giants continued. Itachi. Sasuke shouted, glaring at Itachi's blurred figure through layers of energy. You can't hold out much longer. Sasuke. Itachi opened his mouth but immediately broke into violent coughing. He clutched his mouth, dark blood seeping through his fingers. You look terrible. Just surrender already. Sasuke commanded his purple giant to attack again. The red giant swung its sword to meet the attack but moved slower this time. The arrow in the purple giant's hand pierced through the red giant's armor, but it got stuck midway. The red giant's golden energy sword aimed for the purple giant's right arm but was blocked by its massive bow. Break. Sasuke roared as black flames ignited the arrow, pushing it inch by inch into the red giant's body. The red giant raised its divine shield, smashing it into the purple giant's face, forcing it back. But it seemed too late. The black flame-coated arrow lodged in the red giant began spreading rapidly. Before the flames could fully engulf the red giant, Itachi deactivated his Susanoo, slipping out through a gap in the fire. Sasuke watched as Itachi staggered, barely able to stand. Feeling the stinging pain in his own eyes, Sasuke also deactivated his Susanoo. Surrender. Sasuke's eyes turned into 3 Tomoe Sharingan as he pointed his blade at Itachi. This time, I've won. Sasuke. Itachi coughed more blood and raised his head, also deactivating his Mengekyo Sharingan. You don't have much chakra left, do you? Humphrey. Sasuke forced himself to maintain sage mode. Dealing with you is more than enough. Is that so? Itachi staggered towards Sasuke. Why? He suddenly flashed forward, reaching out with 2 fingers towards Sasuke's eyes. Bloodied and frantic, he shouted. Why won't you ever listen? You're the one who doesn't listen. Sasuke, fully enraged, kicked Itachi hard in the chest. All you ever do is talk nonsense I don't care about. Gah. Itachi's body flew back and transformed into a flock of crows midair. This stupid trick again. Sasuke quickly formed hand seals, lightning sparking from his hand. He leaped into the air, diving into the flock of crows. As the lightning spread across his body and radiated outward, the crows vanished one by one. Suddenly, a single red-eyed crow appeared before Sasuke. The red eye bore a shuriken-like pattern that locked onto Sasuke's gaze. This is... Sasuke's body stiffened. Shishui's eye. Chapter 201, This Won't Do. Izuna's figure suddenly appeared behind Sasuke. He placed his hand firmly on Sasuke's shoulder, forcing Sasuke's body to plummet toward the ground. Izuna kept his eyes tightly shut, leaving only the Mengekyo Sharingan on his forehead. Originally belonging to Shishui. Open. That single eye locked directly onto the crow's gaze. Kodo Mitsukami. The same Genjutsu was unleashed simultaneously from the crow and Izuna's eyes. The strange spiritual waves clashed silently in the air, canceling each other out into nothingness. Caw. The crow let out a shrill cry, blood tears streaming from its eyes. It flapped its wings and retreated. Got you. The eye on Izuna's forehead closed and disappeared as he reopened his own eyes. In a flash, his right hand shot out, capturing the crow in his grip. Caw. Caw. The crow let out piercing cries, struggling fiercely. Whoosh. 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 Several kunai and shuriken flew from another direction, tracing arcs in the air as they closed in on Izuna. Slash. A burst of electricity flashed. Sasuke, who had landed earlier, dashed around Izuna with his blade, scattering cold sparks and lightning everywhere, knocking down all the incoming projectiles with ease. Izuna landed and glanced at Sasuke, whose expression was grim. Izuna reached out to pat Sasuke's shoulder as a gesture of comfort, but seeing the arcs of electricity surging across Sasuke's body, he withdrew his hand. Itachi. Sasuke's voice was calm. He stared at the distant figure leaning weakly against the shattered ruins for support. He opened his mouth to speak but found himself at a loss for words. This man. His resolve was too firm, impossible to sway with mere words. The thought of nearly falling victim to the Genjutsu Kodo Mitsukami from Shishui's Mengekyo Sharingan left Sasuke with lingering fear. If not for having seen that eye before at Izuna's place, and Izuna stepping in to save him, he would have become a slave to Itachi's will. This realization shifted many of Sasuke's thoughts. Before, despite his deep hatred for Itachi, his intent to punish him had stemmed from seeing Itachi as his elder brother. Now, Sasuke suddenly no longer wanted to dwell on matters related to Itachi. Let it end here. According to the plan, Itachi would be imprisoned in the cemetery, and there would be no need to meet him again in the future. In that case, I won't waste my breath debating with you anymore. Sasuke said as the lightning on his body gradually dissipated. All you need to know is that you've lost, so from now on, things will go according to my will. Cough. 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 Itachi coughed violently, blood streaming between his fingers as he covered his mouth. Supporting himself against the crumbling wall, he managed to stand unsteadily and began staggering towards Sasuke. Who would have thought Itachi would actually lose like this? Who's there? Sasuke and Izuna turned toward the voice. Greetings. A bizarre figure, its head encased in a plant-like structure resembling a pitcher plant, emerged from the ground. Zetsu. Cough. Why are you here? Itachi halted his steps. I'm here under orders from the leader. The pitcher plant structure opened, revealing Zetsu's black and white half-split head. Cough. Cough. My. Cough. Mission has failed. Itachi began coughing violently again. In that case, we'll take over from here. A space-time vortex appeared, and Tobi's figure suddenly materialized behind Zetsu. Itachi-san. Sasuke. Kisame and Neji rushed over from afar, landing on either side of Itachi and Sasuke. Seeing Tobi, Sasuke's gaze flickered. He reached out, summoning a paper effigy infused with natural energy, and tossed it into the air. Well, isn't his lively? The paper effigy transformed into Kaido, who floated gently to the ground with a smile. Sasuke. He patted Sasuke's shoulder and took the space talisman Sasuke handed over. What's your next move? Don't worry about the others. Sasuke said indifferently. I just want to capture Itachi. Hey, don't ignore me. Kisame, gripping his massive blade, stepped in front of Itachi. Kaito Uchiha. As Zetsu spoke, he gestured subtly behind him. Tobi nodded, disappearing into another space-time vortex. Oh? Going to get reinforcements? Kaido crossed his arms leisurely. Then I'll wait a little longer. Uncle, Sasuke turned to him. No rush, Sasuke. Kaido remained relaxed. Itachi isn't going anywhere. Cough. Cough. Itachi stepped out from behind Kisame, his gaze fixed ahead. What? Do you plan to do with me? Kaido glanced him over. What to do with you? That's up to Sasuke. However. Kaido's eyes narrowed. Your body's in shambles. Doesn't seem like you'll last much longer. If. Cough. This is Sasuke's will. Itachi staggered closer. Cough. Cough. I'll go with you. Itachi-san. Kisame called out. Kisame. Itachi didn't stop walking. You should leave. Itachi. Zetsu exclaimed in protest. Cough. Our mission has failed. Itachi continued forward unsteadily. The leader won't blame Kisame. Is this Itachi-san's decision? Kisame bared his sharp teeth. In that case. Wait. Zetsu interjected. At that moment, another space-time vortex appeared, and Path Pain emerged. Looks like I made it in time. Tobi appeared alongside him. Leader? Kisame looked at Path Pain in surprise. Leave this to me. Pain said coldly. Itachi's condition is dire. Take him and retreat, Kisame. Yes. Kisame stepped toward Itachi. Not so fast. Kaido suddenly acted, blue spiritual chains shooting out from his hand, binding Itachi tightly. Itachi is already in our custody. Kisame unraveled the bandages around Saimada, revealing its fierce form, and charged toward Itachi to cut the chains. You won't stop us. Sasuke and Neji moved simultaneously, intercepting Kisame. Lightning wrapped around Sasuke's blade, blocking Saimada's path. Neji crouched low, dodging Saimada, and struck at Kisame's waist. Kisame swung his massive blade with force, repelling Sasuke and kicking at Neji's chest. Meanwhile, Kaido pulled hard, drawing the bound Itachi to his side. Almighty push. Path Pain extended his hands toward Kaido and Itachi, unleashing a powerful gravitational force. Golden mist suddenly enveloped Kaido, and countless golden chains erupted from the ground, encasing both him and Itachi. Time to bring out the main body. After isolating the gravitational force with his chains, Kaito slammed his hand into the ground. Golden energy rippled outward like waves, and a figure surrounded by radiant golden mist slowly emerged from the ripples. Chapter 202, Ha! Kaito let out a soft chuckle as he appeared, scanning the people around him. It seems we're all familiar faces here. Wearing a gentle smile, Kaito exuded an overwhelming aura that spread across the area, immediately catching everyone's attention. In that instant, Kisame, Sasuke, and Neji stopped their battle, retreating to their respective positions. Kaito. Pain stepped forward, his violet Rinnegan eyes fixed on the young man shrouded in a golden mist. Hello. Kaito nodded. Why are you alone? Nagato should be nearby, right? Pain's cold eyes remained emotionless, refusing to respond. And you there, Mr. Aloe Vera. Kaido's sharp gaze shifted to Zetsu, who was trying to retreat quietly. Where are you off to? Too rude. I'm not aloe vera. White Zetsu retorted cheekily. Oh? Upon closer inspection, you're right. You're not aloe vera. Kaido's smile deepened. But the black half of you, dear Black Zetsu, doesn't seem quite human, does it? What could it be? Kaito stepped forward. Even I, a non-Myoji, can't quite discern it. It piques my curiosity. Retreat. Black Zetsu's raspy voice rang out as his body moved like a ghost, swiftly vanishing into a distant tree. Oh? Kaido paused, his smile unchanging. Leaving so soon? And now, what are your plans? His gaze turned to Pain and Toby. Do you intend to rescue Itachi from my hands? Kisame, come here. Pain ignored Kaido's question, instead calling Kisame over. Yes. Kisame, carrying his large blade, moved swiftly to join Pain and Toby. Kaido watched with amusement, making no move to stop them. You two, leave first. Pain instructed. He, understood. Toby immediately changed his tone, giving a playful bow. Alright then, Toby will escort Senior Kisame and leave first. A swirling vortex of space appeared before Toby, swallowing Kisame. Moments later, his figure vanished into the vortex as well. It seems Nagato keeps many secrets even from his subordinates. Kaido waved his hand dismissively. Senior Izuna, please take them and retreat to a safe distance. Humphrey. Izuna signaled Sasuke with a glance, leading both Sasuke and Neji out of the ruins. Golden chains retracted into the ground as one of Kaido's paper clones carried the bound Itachi and followed them. Alright, the area is cleared. Kaido clapped his hands. Now then, Nagato, what surprise have you prepared for me this time? Pain remained silent, his expression as cold as ever. Swish. A small figure darted into the ruins. The orange-haired girl, her body pierced with black rods, formed seals before slamming her palm onto the ground. Summoning jutsu. With a burst of white smoke, 4 new figures appeared before Kaido. Same old tricks? Kaido looked slightly disappointed. The 6 paths of pain suddenly spread out, encircling him completely. Oh? Kaido's gaze locked onto the new Azure path. Wasn't this Nagato's real body? Sensing briefly, a strange smile appeared on Kaido's face. Something extraordinary must have happened. Nagato even discarded his own body, didn't he? I've been reborn. Pain declared, his body levitating. Things are different now, Kaido. Have you grown stronger, Nagato? Kaido seemed unimpressed. Talk is meaningless. Pain extended his right hand. Universal pull. Azure missile barrage. The Azure path's arm opened, releasing countless small missiles. Summoning jutsu. The animal path summoned a massive red dog and a giant raven. Buzz. Kaido stood motionless as powerful vibrations radiated from him, counteracting the pull of gravity. Missiles fell to the ground and exploded, while the colossal summoned beasts collapsed under the increased gravitational pressure. Buzz. The vibrations intensified, and the surrounding gravity increased further. The 6 paths of pain all fell to the ground, their bodies creaking under the strain. It seems you haven't improved much, Nagato. Kaido strolled leisurely to the fallen Azure path, crouching beside it and patting its face. What did you gain by discarding your body? Planetary devastation. Kaido turned toward the sound. Pain had barely managed to clasp his hands together. A black sphere ascended into the sky, radiating blinding white light. The immense gravitational force counteracted Kaido's gravity, allowing the 6 paths of pain to rise. Lighter objects from the ground began to float upward, while heavier ones merely quivered. Boom. 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 With a puff of white smoke, the 6 paths of pain vanished. They're retreating already? Even Kaido was momentarily surprised. What was Nagato up to? Why such an abrupt conclusion? Never mind. He looked up at the black sphere in the sky and stomped heavily on the ground. Whoosh! Golden chain shot upward, piercing through the black sphere. The sphere shattered, the gravitational force dissipated, and the floating objects plummeted back to the ground. Kaido dispersed the surrounding gravity and golden mist, turning to head in the direction Izuna and the others had gone. 1 minute earlier. Hidden within a paper-mast tree in the distant forest, Nagato and Konan observed the battle. Nagato. Konan looked worriedly at Nagato, who was seated within a mechanical device. Damn it, that guy has grown even stronger. Nagato slammed his fist onto the armrest in frustration. Despite his new body making him far stronger than before, he had been suppressed by Kaido's overwhelming gravity. Nagato struggled to accept this reality. Nagato, let it go. Konan stood before him. Now isn't the time to face Kaido. When Nagato remained silent, she added. After all, he hasn't stopped us from gathering the tailed beasts, has he? Once we have all the tailed beasts, no one will be able to oppose us. Fine. Nagato's expression shifted several times before he reluctantly relented. He descended from the mechanical device, forming seals with his hands before slamming them onto the ground. Summoning jutsu. White smoke appeared, and the 6 paths of pain materialized before them. You let them go? Izuna crossed his arms and looked at Kaido in surprise. Didn't you want to seize one of their summons? It's fine. He won't escape. Kaido approached them calmly. There's no rush for now. He glanced down at the unconscious Itachi lying on the ground. More importantly, Itachi's body is in bad shape. He turned to Sasuke. Do you want me to heal him? Please heal him. Sasuke said emotionlessly, staring at Itachi. Then seal his chakra. I want to imprison him in the cemetery barrier. Kaito raised an eyebrow. And his eyes? Do you want to merge with them? No. Sasuke scowled in disgust. You said before that I could avoid eye damage by continuing to train my spiritual arts, didn't you? Correct. Kaito nodded. But merging with his ocular power is a shortcut. It's your choice. No, I can do it on my own. Sasuke clenched his fists. Hurry up and take care of it. I want to get this over with. I don't want to see him anymore. Chapter 203, Kaido pulled out several fingertip-sized pieces of dragon vein crystals from his sleeve and quickly set up a formation. Ramyaku, Resurrection Formation. As his hands formed seals, golden mist flowed gently, enveloping Itachi's body. Kaido lowered his hands and turned to Sasuke. Alright, the formation will slowly repair his body. Thank you. Sasuke glanced at Itachi before looking away. You're welcome. Kaito said as he looked up at the sky. Are you really going to send him to the graveyard? After all, that's Hidden Leaf Village's territory. Isn't that perfect? Sasuke sneered. That's the village he always loved. Kaito sighed. What I mean is, it might not be convenient. Even if we confine him there without alarming Hidden Leaf Village, we can't just dump him in the barrier and leave him to starve. TCH. Sasuke clicked his tongue, annoyed. Such a hassle. Hey. Kaido chuckled. Think it over carefully. You must have a brilliant idea, don't you? Sasuke stared directly at Kaido. Nope. Kaito said, spreading his hands. Humphrey. As they talked, Itachi, lying on the ground, slowly opened his eyes. Sasuke. He said softly. Sasuke turned, expressionless. You're awake. Why didn't you kill me? Itachi stared intently at Sasuke. And why didn't you take my eyes? I'll do as I please. Sasuke said stiffly. As a prisoner, you have no choice but to accept what I decide. Uncle. Itachi turned to Kaido. Give my eyes to Sasuke. I said I don't want them. Sasuke snarled, glaring at Itachi before Kaido could respond. I'll handle this my way. Sorry, but on this matter, I'll respect Sasuke's wishes. Kaito said with a sincere smile. At this moment, the golden mist enveloping Itachi dispersed, and the dragon vein crystals used in the formation had completely disappeared. Though his body had recovered somewhat, Itachi silently stood up without attempting to escape. Has he accepted his fate? Despite his apparent compliance, Kaido harbored doubts. Considering his earlier attempt to use Kotoa Mitsukami to alter Sasuke's mind, Itachi didn't seem like someone who would give up so easily. If it's Sasuke's wish. Itachi glanced at Sasuke, who quickly looked away, leaving Itachi visibly dejected. So be it. Kaido clapped a hand on Itachi's back. He wasn't particularly interested in figuring out what Itachi was thinking. Golden chains extended from Kaido's palm, swiftly coiling around Itachi before merging into his body. I've sealed his chakra. Kaito said to Sasuke. Let's head to the graveyard. He then turned to Neji. Neji, find a nearby place to settle down for now. My paper clone and Izuna will stay with you. Understood. Neji said, moving beside the paper clone. Alright, we'll be back soon. Golden chains once again emerged from Kaido, linking him, Sasuke, and Itachi. Golden mist enveloped them, and the three sank into the ground. Hidden Leaf Village, Uchiha Graveyard. Inside the barrier, a small paper figure jumped out of a tree hollow, transforming midair into Kaido's form. He landed lightly, crouching to place his palm on the ground. Golden energy spread from his hand, forming a golden pool on the empty ground beside the graves. Swish. 3 golden shrouded figures rose from it. There's a clone here too? Sasuke opened his eyes to see the paper clone. Hey, not just here. Kaito said with a smile. For convenience, I've hidden paper clones capable of summoning my true body in many places. That's practical. Sasuke admitted, though he seemed to remember something. But didn't you rely on Gyur to return to Mount Hama last time? The distance was too far. Kaito said matter-of-factly. Why exhaust myself dragging so many people along? Sasuke twitched slightly, covertly casting a disdainful glance at him. Luckily, Gyur didn't hear that. Alright. Kaido glanced at Itachi, gesturing. We have work to do. Sasuke sneered at Itachi's motionless figure. The moment Itachi opened his eyes, the rows of gravestones filling the graveyard overwhelmed his vision, bringing back deeply buried memories of harsh truths. It was me. It was my own hands. He looked down at his palms, recalling the lives he had taken here. Though he didn't regret his choices, he couldn't escape the reality before him. He staggered forward, gazing blankly at the gravestones until he stopped before one in the corner. Sasuke followed his gaze, vaguely recognizing the name engraved on the tombstone, Uchiha. Sasuke tried to recall more but couldn't pinpoint the details. Meanwhile, Itachi moved again, finally stopping in front of the gravestones of Fugaku and Mikoto. Sasuke turned to Kaido, signaling with a hand gesture. Understanding, Kaido raised an eyebrow in surprise. Sasuke nodded firmly. Kaido retrieved 2 low-grade possession paper figures and began a precise summoning. For souls he had summoned before, Kaido could remember their unique spiritual frequencies, allowing him to bypass needing summoning materials for future attempts. Mangekyo Sharingan activated as the summoning array appeared, and the passage to the Pure Land opened. 2 soul flames emerged, colliding with the paper figures. The paper figures stretched and transformed into a man and a woman with black hair, standing before Sasuke and Kaido. Where is this? Mikoto opened her eyes, first seeing the young man and boy before her. Kaido. Sasuke. Sister, brother-in-law. Kaido greeted with a nod. Father, mother. Sasuke bowed politely. Husband? Mikoto turned and saw Fugaku beside her. Fugaku silently nodded. What's going on? Where is this? Mikoto looked around and suddenly froze. This is a graveyard? She noticed the lone figure watching from afar. Itachi? Father, mother. Itachi remained still, kneeling where he stood. His hands overlapped, and his forehead touched the ground. Itachi. Mikoto rushed forward, stopping before her son with complex emotions in her eyes. After a long silence, her voice trembled. Stand up, Itachi. That was your own choice. Fugaku added, joining Mikoto. Once a choice is made, there's no need to regret it. The ninja world doesn't allow for regrets. Itachi's body trembled slightly, but he didn't raise his head. Chapter 204, Sasuke glanced at the scene unfolding between his parents and Itachi from a distance, pricking his tongue in annoyance. What's wrong? Kaido asked. My father and mother want him to live without regrets. Sasuke muttered, his lips curling. That's completely opposite to how I feel. They're just worried his emotions will damage his body. Kaido replied indifferently. Whether he regrets it or not doesn't change anything. Even if he repents, what's lost is lost. Humphrey, I don't care anymore. Sasuke's expression turned cold. Whether he holds firm or regrets everything, I no longer care what he thinks. Because he used Koto Mitsukami? Kaido patted Sasuke's shoulder comfortingly. Sasuke's face darkened further. From that moment on, he ceased to be my brother. Sasuke? Mikoto, who had been walking over with Itachi, overheard his words. She stared at Sasuke in disbelief. What are you saying? Behind her, Fugaku quietly observed Sasuke's current demeanor without commenting, while Itachi began coughing violently again. Mikoto stepped in front of Sasuke, looking up at her now taller son. She reached out and took his hand. Sasuke, why would you say that? Why wouldn't I? Sasuke pointed directly at Itachi. That man killed our parents and clan for Hidden Leaf Village. I can't agree with anything he's done. That's not it. You were young back then, and the situation was too complicated. Mikoto said firmly, gripping Sasuke's hand tightly. Itachi had no choice. Your father and I don't blame him. Of course, you wouldn't. Sasuke pulled his hand back, avoiding Mikoto's concerned gaze. You and father love him, so you won't blame him. But what about the others? Did the children in the clan, even those younger than me, deserve to die just because the adults were planning a coup? He had to. Mikoto said, raising her voice. It was the only way to protect you. You were the most important, Sasuke. Don't be ridiculous. Sasuke shook her hand off and stepped back, evading her reaching hand. To him, I was never more important than Hidden Leaf Village. Sasuke. Mikoto froze in place, her expression heartbroken. Shizue's eye was in his possession. Sasuke said, his tone growing angrier. Shizue's eye contained a powerful Genjutsu. Koto Mitsukami. That jutsu could completely alter someone's thoughts. He used it on me. Sasuke's suppressed rage erupted entirely. When I didn't want to return to Hidden Leaf Village, he tried to use Koto Mitsukami to control my mind. I was nothing more than a pawn to him, a slave to his ideals. Wasn't sacrificing everything for Hidden Leaf Village enough for him? Sasuke glared at Itachi with contempt. Now he wants to entrust his eyes to me? To make me inherit his ideals and dedicate my life to Hidden Leaf Village, just like he did? Why? Why should my life always be under his control? I'm sorry. Mikoto broke into tears. I didn't know. Sasuke. You don't need to apologize to me, mother. Sasuke turned away from her. I just can't see Itachi as my brother anymore. Itachi. Mikoto turned to her eldest son. Why did you do it? Itachi gave her a guilty glance but remained silent. Answer me. Mikoto, usually so gentle, uncharacteristically shouted. She stared into Itachi's eyes. Why did you do it? Itachi opened his mouth but said nothing, glancing at Sasuke, who sneered mockingly. In the end, Itachi stayed silent. You too. Mikoto felt as though she was about to break down. That's enough. Fugaku stepped forward, placing a hand on Mikoto's shoulder. Honey. At that moment, Mikoto felt her heart shatter. Both Itachi and Sasuke were her children. Once a pair of inseparable brothers, now so estranged. What could she do? Fugaku patted Mikoto's shoulder, his sharp gaze shifting between Sasuke and Itachi. Mikoto and I are dead, we can't interfere in your lives anymore. He said, his expression solemn. I've told both of you, Itachi and Sasuke, to follow your own paths. Especially you, Sasuke. His gaze softened as he looked at his youngest son. You've grown up. I'm proud of you. Kaito. He turned to Kaito. Send us away. Kaito nodded and formed seals. The passage to the Pure Land opened, and Fugaku and Mikoto's souls separated from the paper figures. After giving Itachi and Sasuke one final look, they vanished into the Pure Land. Uncle. Sasuke said, his eyes red as he turned away. Let's go. Have you made all the arrangements? Kaito asked. It's fine. Sasuke said firmly. Your paper clone is here to guard this place, isn't it? I'll instruct the crow to deliver food regularly. If that's your decision, then let's go. Kaito placed a hand on Sasuke's shoulder, and the two were enveloped in golden mist, sinking into the ground. After they disappeared, Itachi remained standing, coughing violently, as if his lungs would give out. Your body hasn't fully recovered. Kaito's clone approached. Don't get too emotional. Why? Itachi finally caught his breath. Why didn't you give my eyes to Sasuke? He stared intently at Kaito. I know you could have made him accept them. I told you before. Kaito said casually, jumping onto a tree. I respect Sasuke's wishes. Is that truly what's best for him? Itachi asked, rare confusion evident in his tone. Sasuke wants respect. Kaito replied seriously. He's a human being with his own consciousness, not your puppet on strings. But. Itachi frowned. If he followed my plan, he'd have a better future. What's better? Kaito shook his head. That's your version of better, not his. It's like how you enjoy dango, but Sasuke prefers tomatoes. Enough. Kaito interrupted Itachi's next words. Sasuke's life is his own. He's grown up, and even family shouldn't interfere too much. You've never truly understood Sasuke, never genuinely listened to his innermost thoughts. Blind love will only harm him. Let go. I guarantee his future will be brighter than you can imagine. With that, the clone folded back into a paper figure and hid inside a tree hollow. Itachi stood frozen, replaying Kaito's words in his mind. In the desolate graveyard, with no wind and the sky darkening, he remained motionless, coughing occasionally into the silence. Chapter 205, Night had fallen, and a campfire crackled in the dense forest. Several people sat on the ground around the fire, the flames popping and sparking in the quiet. Kaito glanced at Sasuke, who had been silent and downcast, and nudged his arm. What's wrong? Still upset? Sasuke shook his head in silence. Izuna, who had been staring at the dancing flames, looked up at Sasuke and said. Since you've already made your decision, there's no need to dwell on Itachi's actions. This kid probably just can't wrap his head around Itachi's choices. Kaito chuckled. That's why he's stuck in confusion. I'm not. Sasuke retorted in a low voice. Izuna scoffed. Not understanding is the right thing. If you could, wouldn't that make you just like him? Alright, let's not dwell on the past. Kaito reached out and ruffled Sasuke's hair. You should focus on what you're going to do next. Humphrey. Sasuke lifted his head, glaring at Kaito. Shouldn't you be the one assigning me tasks? So eager? Kaito laughed. Then I'll have to think carefully about it. Assign him tasks within his ability. Izuna interjected with a smirk. I don't want to be burdened with protecting him all the time. I don't need protection. Sasuke snapped. Oh? How many times have I saved you? Want to count? Izuna shot him a disdainful glance. Humphrey. Sasuke, flustered and red-faced, had no comeback. Neji, observing the Uchiha trio's close interaction, couldn't help but feel out of place. I'm from the Hyuga clan. Why am I mixed up with the Uchiha? Neji. Kaido, noticing his discomfort, spoke up. The research on the caged bird seal. Your father was instrumental in helping. He has since returned to the Pure Land. Thank you. Neji said after a pause, addressing him formally. Lord Kaido. There's no need for such formality. Kaido waved his hand dismissively. Just call me uncle. Uncle Kaido. Neji managed, feeling even more awkward. Oh, right. Sasuke suddenly remembered something. Uncle, Neji has a favor to ask of you. Kaido turned to Neji. It's nothing. Just some immature thoughts. Neji stammered, flustered. Don't be nervous. Kaido said warmly. I'm not a scary person. No, you are terrifying. Izuna cast Kaido a knowing look. I've always been gentle, Kaido silently retorted with a smile. Well, about the caged bird seal. Neji hesitated, struggling to speak. I'll say it. Sasuke interjected smugly. After all, it was my idea. Kaido raised an eyebrow, signaling Sasuke to proceed. Sasuke explained. Uncle, is it possible to modify the caged bird seal to remove its harmful aspects, leaving only the feature that destroys the eyes after death? I've never thought of that. Kaido mused, then shook his head. It's probably very difficult. Why? Sasuke asked curiously. Neji also watched Kaido with anticipation. If it's just to destroy the eyes after death, that's relatively easy. Kaido explained. But the simpler a seal, the easier it is to break. Conversely, the harder it is to break, the more of a burden it places on the wearer. Achieving a perfect balance is nearly impossible. Is that so? Sasuke muttered, disappointed. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to mention, Neji. Kaido said, catching Neji's attention. What is it? Neji looked up, hope reigniting in his eyes. I've already handed over the method to lift the caged bird seal to the 5th Hokage. Kaido revealed. What happens next depends on her courage. Neji's eyes lit up. He had been worried about how to lift the seals on the other Hyuga clan members, but now it seemed there was hope for everyone. Thank you so much. Neji stood and bowed deeply to Kaido. No need for such formalities. Kaido smiled and motioned for him to sit. Still, Neji couldn't help but cast grateful glances at him. Hyuga boy. Izuna said bluntly. Don't thank him so quickly. He probably has ulterior motives. What are you saying, Izuna-senpai? Kaido said with a harmless smile. Don't smile at me like that. Izuna replied coldly. I won't be fooled by your facade. Such harsh words, senpai. You're breaking my heart. Kaido said with mock grievance. Scram. Izuna picked up a burning stick and threw it. Can't do that. Kaido caught the stick and placed it back in the fire. Too dirty here. Ugh. Izuna rolled his eyes as Sasuke and Neji, full of curiosity, looked on. Surely you understand. Izuna said to the two younger ones. Even if it's the Hokage, unless absolutely necessary, they won't interfere in clan matters. And once the news gets out, what kind of upheaval will the Hyuga clan face? He continued. The Hokage and the clans often have conflicting interests. I understand now. Neji spoke first, realization dawning. Even if the 5th Hokage has the method, she won't use it lightly. Not unless she wants to cause internal strife in the village. Izuna said with a meaningful smile. Although lifting the caged bird seal would benefit the village overall, if the Hokage has her own agenda, she might let the Hyuga tear themselves apart first. The Hyuga clan is probably already in turmoil. Kaido said innocently, spreading his hands. Neji's safe departure is the real trigger. He patted Sasuke's shoulder with mock solemnity. The mastermind is Sasuke, who abducted their clan member. Sasuke silently shifted away and asked. Uncle, why did you give the method to the 5th Hokage? Good question. Kaido smiled warmly. Because someone kidnapped Hidden Leaf Village's ninja and defected. When they demanded an explanation, as an elder, I could only silently make amends. TCH. Sasuke sneered. Even without an explanation, who could do anything to you? He just wants to watch the drama unfold. Izuna said, hitting the nail on the head. Don't paint me as the villain. Kaido said, exasperated. I'm merely fostering unity within Hidden Leaf Village and offering the Hokage a little help. Shameless. Izuna said bluntly. Twisted. Sasuke muttered under his breath. Don't be disrespectful. Kaido said as a ball of spiritual energy formed in his hand, which he used to knock Sasuke on the head. While the trio chatted lively, Neji remained uneasy. He mustered his courage. Will the Hyuga clan be alright? Chapter 206, Morning broke, and the sun lit up the sky. In the Hyuga residence of Hidden Leaf Village, Hyuga Takuma, who had just finished his night watch at the clan head's home, bid farewell to Hayashi Hyuga and began walking toward his own house. It was still early morning, and the members of the Hyuga clan were just waking up. Everyone was busy preparing breakfast, and the streets were empty. "Good morning, Takuma," greeted some of the clan members who were aligned with the main family and stood in their yards. "Good morning," Takuma replied politely to each of them. He walked at a steady pace, neither hurried nor slow, until he reached the outdoor training grounds within the clan's estate. Suddenly, he stopped. Standing outside the training grounds, Takuma carefully observed the wooden stakes erected within. "Takuma?" An elderly voice called out from behind him. Takuma turned calmly, bowing slightly in greeting. "Elder." The elder, out for his morning walk, stroked his long beard and nodded. "Just returned from the main house?" "Yes." Takuma replied respectfully, lowering his head. "Nothing unusual these past few days?" The elder inquired. "Everything is normal." "Good, that's good." The elder looked at him with satisfaction. "You've worked hard. I didn't speak up for you in front of the clan head for nothing. Thank you for your support and the clan head's trust." Takuma quickly responded, bowing again. "You're a good one," the elder said encouragingly, patting Takuma on the shoulder. "Protect the clan head with diligence. Once this turmoil passes, I'll make sure you're rewarded." "Yes." Takuma's voice was filled with determination. All right. You should rest now. I won't hold you up," the elder said, waving him off. "Yes." Takuma bowed once more before turning to leave. "By the way, Takuma." The elder's voice rang out again from behind him. "What were you looking at just now?" Takuma paused for a moment, then turned back. "Just reminiscing about my childhood," he said, his face showing a hint of nostalgia. "Back then, my father used to guide my training here." "I see." The elder smiled warmly. "Go on, then." "Yes." Takuma turned away, his expression growing cold. As the elder stood in the training grounds watching Takuma's retreating figure, a sharp glint flashed in his aged, cloudy eyes once Takuma turned into an alley. The elder walked up to the wooden stakes and examined them closely for a long time. Finally, he chuckled, shook his head, and resumed his walk, stroking his beard. Far away, Takuma, now walking through the alley, retracted his activated Byakugan. A cold smile crept onto his lips. He exited the alley and pushed open the gate to his house. "Takuma, welcome back," greeted a short-haired Hyuga woman with white eyes as she stepped out from the house. "Perfect timing. I just finished making breakfast." "I'm back." Takuma crossed the courtyard, took off his shoes, and entered the house. "You come over to help every day. It must be tiring, Iragi." "Not at all." Hyuga Iragi replied with a gentle smile as she set the table. "I don't have much to do anyway. You're the one who works hard, staying up all night." Takuma sat at the table, taking the chopsticks Iragi handed him. "Let's eat." They began their meal, speaking in hushed tones. "Did you see the message left on the training ground stakes?" Iragi asked, pouring Takuma a bowl of soup. "Yes." Takuma stirred his rice with his chopsticks, his fingers trembling slightly. "Is the information accurate?" "It feels like someone deliberately leaked it," Iragi said, sipping her soup. "Perhaps it's a directive from the Hokage himself." "We can't act rashly," Takuma said, swallowing his food. "The elder tested me at the training grounds earlier." "How could that be?" Iragi said, surprised. "On the surface, everyone who interacts with you, including me, appears loyal to the main family." Takuma shook his head silently. "He didn't notice the message on the stakes, did he?" Iragi asked worriedly. "He examined it closely, but he probably didn't find anything," Takuma replied after finishing his bowl of rice. "The marks were left using gentle fist techniques. Without understanding the code, nothing would stand out." "Have another bowl," Iragi said, taking his bowl to refill it. "Even though the message about targeting the branch family was leaked, we can't afford to act recklessly." She placed the filled bowl in front of him. "Many are concerned it's bait set by the main family and the Hokage," she added. Takuma resumed eating, only speaking after several bites. "We'll decide once our people locate Neji. He might know something." "Neji?" Iragi's expression turned complex. "I never thought that child would take the first step." "It was inevitable," Takuma said without surprise. "Lord Hisashi's sacrifice was too unjust." "Yes." Iragi's face darkened with hatred. The village and the main family's incompetence led to Lord Hisashi's death, yet he bore all the blame alone. "It's because Lord Hisashi revealed his intentions," Takuma said calmly. "He shouldn't have shown killing intent toward Lady Hinata back then." Even as the clan head's twin brother, the clan head might have tolerated him to some extent. He continued. But the elders would never allow someone from the branch family to grow too close to the clan head. The border unit searching for Neji consists of people assigned by the elders. Iragi said, poking at her rice with her chopsticks. Our people are few in number. I hope they can find Neji first. Don't get your hopes up too much. Takuma said emotionlessly. Shoyo's temperament. Ha. Iragi gave a dry laugh. Don't worry. At least he listens to Natsu. As an older brother, he's less reliable than his sister. Takuma said, shaking his head in resignation. I hope Neji contacts us himself. Iragi sighed. Perhaps he's already found true freedom. That boy rarely mingles with the clan. Takuma said, setting down his chopsticks. The main family's relationship with him is awkward, and the branch family can't openly approach him. Following Might Guy has only further distanced him from the clan. That's why I'm surprised he defected. Iragi said, clearing the table. His teacher is that guy, after all. There's nothing surprising about it. For people like us, freedom is more precious than anything else. Takuma said, touching his forehead. I hope the Hokage's information is accurate. Raising her voice, Iragi asked. Finished eating, Takuma? I'll clean up. Takuma stood. Thank you, Iragi. I'll go wash up. Rest afterward. You still need to report to the clan head tonight, don't you? Iragi said, carrying the dishes to the kitchen. I'm off, then. Takuma headed to his room. Rest well. I'll leave after cleaning up. Iragi's voice called from afar. Chapter 207, Outside a Forest in the Land of Rivers. Let's part ways here. Kaito said, glancing at the sky. He offered a word of caution. Sasuke, you and Neji, be careful. Got it. Sasuke replied, his spirits already lifted, a look of eager anticipation on his face. Izuna made a rarer joke. Finally rid of you, kid. This old man needs a good rest. Sasuke snorted lightly, clearly displeased. Is that kid pouting? Izuna asked Kaito. Probably. Kaito replied, pretending not to notice Sasuke's reddening face. He teased with a grin. It's hard for a child to part from their guardian. PFFT. Neji abruptly turned his head away to hide his laughter. Sasuke's clenched fist made a cracking sound. Despite his best efforts to maintain a neutral expression, his cheeks and ears had turned bright red. He turned abruptly and walked ahead briskly, his voice steady. Let's go, Neji. All right. Neji, still stifling laughter, quickly bowed in farewell before hurrying after Sasuke. Izuna crossed his arms, chuckling softly as he watched the two boys leave. You're not worried this time? Kaido asked him. Not at all. Izuna said confidently. He is capable of standing on his own now. Besides, he has your paper clone with him. In that case. Kaito stretched lazily. Let's head back. Hurry up. I haven't seen my brother in ages. Izuna urged. Got it. Brother complex. Kaido placed a hand on Izuna's shoulder, golden energy rising beneath their feet. Let's go. The paper clone over there will summon us. As the golden light shimmered and faded, the two slowly sank into the ground. In the distance, Sasuke turned to watch silently. Only when their figures completely disappeared did he turn back and continue moving forward. I'll lead the way. Neji said, stepping ahead of Sasuke. Sasuke seemed somewhat distracted. Neji didn't press further. Instead, his mind drifted to the conversation they had the night before. Will the Hyuga clan be okay? Neji had asked, unable to suppress his unease. No matter the outcome, it won't be catastrophic. Kaito had said with certainty. Seeing Neji's worry, he had elaborated. The Hyuga clan, as the most powerful family on the surface in Hidden Leaf Village today, is an indispensable military force for the village. Given Hidden Leaf Village's current state, they can't afford to lose them. No matter how fiercely the Hyuga main and branch families fight, as Hokage, Tsunade will tightly control the situation. Her goal is to consolidate the Hyuga's strength for the village, so she won't allow them to weaken too much. Otherwise, the other clans, eyeing the title of strongest clan, would stir unrest. If that boundary is crossed, it could destabilize the village. So while this incident might cause some casualties within the Hyuga clan, it won't escalate into major chaos. Otherwise, Tsunade's position as Hokage would be untenable. Neji had exhaled in relief upon hearing this, though he couldn't resist asking. The strongest family on the surface? What about in the shadows? Ridiculous. Sasuke grumbled, clearly annoyed by the topic. Kaito lightly smacked Sasuke on the head. Behave. We're talking about the strongest family in Hidden Leaf Village. He emphasized Hidden Leaf Village, pacifying Sasuke's irritation. Finally, he answered Neji's question. From my investigations, the clan with the largest number of shinobi in Hidden Leaf Village today is actually the Sarutobi clan. Coupled with their long-standing alliance with the Inoshikacho trio, they are, in fact, Hidden Leaf Village's most powerful faction. He couldn't help but sigh. Clans like the Uchiha and Hyuga, with their openly powerful bloodlines, have always operated in the spotlight. The Hyuga are slightly better off. Back when the village was founded, the Senju and Uchiha clans were the most prominent. And now? Now it's the Sarutobi and the Inoshikacho, who were once second-tier clans, that have preserved more strength through the wars. To put it plainly, even enemy villages don't exhaust all their resources targeting them when fighting Hidden Leaf Village. In that case, doesn't that make the Hyuga clan vulnerable in the future? Neji's heart, just set at ease, began to worry again. For the first time, he felt the caged bird seal wasn't entirely a bad thing. If you trust me, there's no need to worry too much. Kaito had said cryptically. Soon, the entire world's structure will change dramatically. Neji's eyes widened, his heartbeat quickening. Was he about to reveal some core secret? Since Kaito's sudden rise, rumors surrounding him had been plentiful. Neji had often wondered about the motives behind his actions in the ninja world. Though the fragmented intelligence Neji had pieced together offered no answers, his curiosity only grew. But Kaito didn't elaborate, instead asking. Besides, wouldn't most of the branch family choose freedom if given the chance? Neji couldn't refute that. He knew his own thoughts well. If he never experienced freedom, he would surely die with regret. To gain it, he had already defected. And he believed many others shared the same mindset. Like Hinata Shoyo and Hinata Natsu, who had once actively sought to help him. As Neji hurried along, these questions lingered in his mind. Most of all, he remained curious about why Kaito believed the world's structure would undergo drastic changes. Could it be that he intended to rule the world? Sasuke. Neji finally broke the silence, deciding to ask directly. As your teammate, don't I have the right to know what you're planning? Hey, I thought you'd never ask. Sasuke teased. Couldn't hold back, huh? What? Neji was surprised. You mean you're willing to tell me? Yeah. Sasuke explained. My uncle said it's up to me whether to tell you. But what we're aiming for might sound unbelievable. What do you mean? Neji pressed. What's your goal? Hey. Sasuke leapt ahead of Neji, turning to face him. With a proud and serious expression, he declared. We're going to save the world. Wait a second. Neji came to an abrupt stop, scrutinizing Sasuke from head to toe. His face darkened as he said irritably. Are you messing with me? Chapter 208, Tanakuni Underground Base. Orochimaru emerged from a dark room, walking alone through a long corridor. The dim light from torches on the wall stretched his shadow to great lengths. After taking several turns, Orochimaru pushed open a door and entered a brightly lit laboratory. Kabuto stood alone in the lab, recording something. Hearing the door open, he immediately turned around. Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto, how is the experiment progressing? Orochimaru walked over to Kabuto, took the clipboard from his hands, and began flipping through the pages. Lord Orochimaru, through our experiments, we've discovered that while the so-called communication talismans are activated using natural energy, the critical factor in their operation lies with Kaido Uchiha. Kabuto adjusted his glasses and continued. The talismans we possess merely transmit signals through the runes inscribed on them. He. As expected, we cannot decode the so-called spiritual energy through such small devices. Orochimaru casually put the documents aside, showing no hint of disappointment. Alright, let's put the experiments on hold. Orochimaru said with an excited smile. Kaido-kun contacted me this morning. Sasuke-kun will be coming to us next. Lord Orochimaru? Kabuto's gaze was filled with questions. Could Orochimaru still be after Sasuke-kun's body? No, you're mistaken, Kabuto. Orochimaru denied. You know I have a better choice now. He licked his lips with his tongue, his eyes gleaming coldly. However, since Kaido-kun has entrusted Sasuke-kun's training to me, I cannot let him down. What do you mean? Kabuto asked respectfully. He. Orochimaru's raspy laughter echoed. While I don't intend to take Sasuke-kun's body again, I am curious about the secrets hidden within the Uchiha and Hyuga bloodlines. Hyuga? Kabuto caught on. You mean Neji Hyuga? I didn't expect him to be coming as well. Exactly. Kabuto, go and meet them. Orochimaru instructed. Once they arrive, I'll assign them their tasks. Yes, Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto responded before turning and leaving the laboratory. Since they're here for training, they may as well serve me well. Orochimaru muttered with a sinister laugh. Poof. A burst of white smoke appeared, and Orochimaru vanished. Rochi cave. Shinya's lair was far from the dwelling of the White Snake Sage. Due to Shinya's infamous reputation, not even the White Snake Sage or the three Snake Princesses dared disturb it lightly, except for its own subordinates. At this moment, Shinya's massive body coiled atop a towering stone pillar, its menacing single eye glaring down at the suddenly appeared Orochimaru. "Shinya, what is it?" Orochimaru asked irritably. "We have no reason to meet anymore. Why summon me here with a summoning technique?" Orochimaru. Shinya lowered its massive head slightly. Lately, the White Snake has tightened its control over Richido. Continuing to send smaller snakes to communicate with you may draw its attention. Oh? Orochimaru's curiosity piqued. What is the White Snake Sage planning? It seems that old hag has had a change of heart and now wants to side with Kaido. Shinya remarked, sounding confused. Then why is it obstructing you? Orochimaru's eyes darted around before he smirked. I think I understand. What do you understand? Shinya brought its enormous head closer. Hee. Indeed, when animals gain intelligence, they become increasingly like humans. What are you saying? Shinya leaned even closer. Hey, it's ostracizing you, Shinya. Orochimaru gloated. Just like a millennium ago, it fears you reclaiming leadership over Richido. You mean? Shinya hissed angrily, its mouth dripping a foul liquid. That old hag wants to bypass me and collaborate with Kaido to monopolize the benefits. Exactly. Congratulations on figuring it out. Orochimaru said, his eyes narrowing. So, what will you do, Shinya? That cunning old hag. Shinya's massive tail struck the cave walls in fury, creating a deafening noise. By the way, Orochimaru added, unfazed by the trembling cave. My collaboration with Kaido-kun is going well. He has even entrusted his only young relative, Sasuke-kun, to me. What are you implying? Shinya quieted down, its massive, icy snake eyes fixed on Orochimaru. I'm on your side, Shinya. Orochimaru said, extending his long tongue to lick his lips. You should offer me more support. Do you think? Shinya asked, calming somewhat. That Kaido would accept that old hag's partnership? Why not ask Kaido-kun directly? Orochimaru suggested. Your straightforward nature would make Kaido-kun trust you more. After all, you're not good at schemes, and that works in your favor. True. My influence in Richido is far weaker than that old hag's. Shinya pondered before seeming to make a decision. I will contact him. And my matter? Orochimaru inquired. With Sasuke-kun coming here under Kaido-kun's arrangement, this is your chance to make a gesture of goodwill. I understand. Shinya coiled itself around the pillar. I will order a Kari and a KO to obey your commands. Excellent. Orochimaru smiled contentedly. I'll put them to good use. Hey, Orochimaru, have you abandoned Manda? Shinya sneered. That one. Orochimaru said with annoyance. Is too disobedient to be of use. But if I don't use it for too long, the White Snake Sage might grow suspicious. Orochimaru suddenly chuckled darkly. Hee. I'll find a good place for Manda to end up. Abandoning a long-time partner? You're just as cold-blooded as we snakes, Orochimaru. Shinya scoffed, irritated by Orochimaru taking its two subordinates. Hee. Orochimaru laughed dismissively. You'd love to see me kill it, wouldn't you? After all, Manda is aligned with the White Snake Sage. Humphrey. Shinya pulled its massive head back to rest atop the pillar. Leave now. Contact me if needed. How impolite. Orochimaru said as he turned toward the cave's exit. Since I'm here, I might as well greet a Kari and a KO. Hiss. Shinya didn't respond further, spitting out a glob of venom. The crimson venom landed and transformed into a small red snake, slithering after Orochimaru. Hearing the movement behind him, Orochimaru laughed once more. Chapter 209, Neji was silently rushing forward. After his conversation with Sasuke, he felt like he was beginning to lose his understanding of the world. Although he wanted to dismiss Sasuke's words as absurd nonsense, his instincts told him that Sasuke wasn't lying. He thought about all these chaotic matters in his mind, yet his face remained cold and composed. Hey! Sasuke chuckled at his expression and said. Don't think too much. How could I not think about it? Neji glared at him. It was all this guy's fault for saying such shocking things. No matter how much you think about it, you won't find an answer, right? Sasuke casually advised. Since you've already joined us, you'll experience more of these things sooner or later. You'll understand then. I got it. Neji responded irritably, suppressing his tangled thoughts as he changed the topic. What do you know about the situation with Orochimaru? I don't know. Sasuke replied bluntly. We'll just head there directly. Neji frowned. Aren't you afraid of danger? Didn't that guy covet you back then? Sasuke's expression darkened. That's all in the past. I've surpassed him now. Neji glanced at him skeptically. Anyway, don't worry about it. Sasuke said calmly, exuding confidence. Orochimaru is cooperating with my uncle. He needs something from him now, so he won't try anything excessive. As long as you're sure. Neji replied, dropping the subject. The two began discussing their route. Traveling from the land of rivers to the land of fields offered two different paths. One was the shortest, a straight line through the land of fire. However, given their sensitive status, crossing the land of fire's borders might immediately alert Hidden Leaf Village, leading to an ambush. The second route circumvented the land of fire, passing through the lands of rain, grass, waterfalls, and frost. A much longer journey. Have you decided? Neji, after laying out the options, left the decision to Sasuke. Sasuke thought for a moment and nodded. I understand. Which direction are we heading? Neji stopped walking. Hold on. Sasuke formed a series of hand seals and slammed his palm into the air. A ripple of runes spread from his hand. Summoning jutsu. Bang. A puff of white smoke exploded, and a pitch-black crow flapped its wings, letting out a hoarse caw. 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 Greetings, Lord Sasuke. Caw. Jin. Sasuke extended his hand, allowing the crow to perch on it. What's the situation in the land of fire? As he stroked the crow's glossy feathers with one hand, he pulled out some grain from his ninja pouch and began feeding it. Jin pecked a few grains, swallowed, and began to speak. Caw, caw. I know. The land of fire's defenses have returned to normal. I see. Sasuke looked pleased. Turning to Neji, he said. It seems my uncle has already given Hidden Leaf Village an explanation. The fifth Hokage doesn't want to waste manpower tracking us anymore. Let's take the shorter route. That works. Neji agreed. When given a choice, the shorter path was obviously preferable. Caw. One more thing. Jin flapped his wings. The crows discovered something. Several Byakugan-wielding shinobi have quietly left the land of fire. Humphrey. Neji's face turned icy. It seems my dear uncle still hasn't given up. It looks like the Hyuga clan sent some people to track you secretly. Sasuke surmised. We might run into them soon. Neji clenched his fists. Don't worry. I won't let them interfere with us. Good. Sasuke looked up at Jin. Jin, is there any other news? Caw. Indeed, there's one more thing. Jin flew above Neji's head. Those two Byakugan shinobi you encountered recently have appeared in a land of rain. It seems they've run into trouble. Brother Shoyo and sister Natsu? Neji's head shot up. Caw. The Byakugan siblings. Jin confirmed. Sasuke. Neji turned to him seriously. It looks like we need to change our route. You're worried about them? Sasuke understood immediately. You said it yourself. Neji frowned. The land of rain is Akatsuki's territory. True. While it's unlikely, if those siblings encounter Akatsuki members, it could be disastrous. Sasuke nodded. Caw. The specifics are still unclear. The crows only saw those two fighting unfamiliar shinobi. Jin added. Sasuke, I want to check on them. Neji looked at Sasuke urgently. What do you think? Let's go. Sasuke turned immediately, heading toward the land of rain. Thank you. Neji followed closely behind. Sasuke simply waved it off and instructed the crow. Jin. Have the crows keep track of the siblings' movements and guide us along the way. Caw. Understood, Lord Sasuke. Driven by Neji's concern, the two quickened their pace. Neji himself wasn't sure why. They were merely ordinary clan members with no real connection to him. So why, upon hearing this vague intel, was he so eager to go to their aid? His mind drifted back to his few brief interactions with the siblings in Hidden Leaf Village and their recent efforts to help him. The memory that stood out the most was the shining determination in their eyes. Neji understood that it was the longing for freedom. Those two had placed their dreams in his hands. Perhaps it was precisely because he knew this that he had decisively refused their help. That kind of burden was too heavy for him to bear. Looking back, in the urgency of the moment, knocking them unconscious might have brought them trouble. It could even have aroused Hidden Leaf Village's and the main family's suspicions. Ever since, he had been worried that the siblings, in their desire to help him, might have exposed their intentions to Hidden Leaf Village. When he learned earlier that they had been part of the pursuit against him, he had briefly felt relieved. But now, thinking it over, those two siblings came from a family that had always stood firmly with the main family. Anyone trusted enough to be sent after him had to be loyal to the main family. Those two were secret rebels. How bold of them. Neji sighed. They had better be okay. Brother Shoyo, sister Natsu. Such precious, shining dreams should never be entrusted to others. They must be realized by one's own strength. Chapter 210, Gentle Fist Technique, 8 trigrams 64 palms. 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms, 16 palms, 32 palms. A petite figure darted gracefully, hands moving swiftly as a barrage of strikes landed on her opponent's chest. 64 palms. Ugh. The rogue ninja with a scratched forehead protector spat out a spray of blood before collapsing to the ground. Huff. Natsu exhaled deeply, withdrawing her hands as she staggered toward the base of a large tree. Brother. She sat down weakly, gripping Shoyo's hand as he leaned against the tree trunk. Brother. Natsu. Covered in blood, Shoyo weakly opened his eyes. We need to leave here quickly. Natsu urged as she struggled to her feet, crouching beside him and slinging his arm over her shoulder. I'll help you up, brother. Natsu. Shoyo looked deeply at his sister's blood-stained face. You should go on your own. Shut up. What nonsense are you saying? Natsu glared angrily at Shoyo, stubbornly trying to stand. But the weight of supporting another person proved too much, and her legs gave out, causing her to fall back to the ground. Natsu. Shoyo shouted anxiously. Stop being so stubborn. We'll both die if you don't. Then we'll die together. Natsu shouted back, tears streaming down her face. You're hurt because of me. Idiot. Shoyo muttered, ruffling her hair. As your brother, isn't it my duty to protect you? I'll take you with me. Natsu said with resolve as she mustered her strength and helped Shoyo to his feet. Let's go. She glanced at the corpses scattered around them, trembling as she supported Shoyo and began moving deeper into the forest. SHH. 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 Kunai whistled through the air toward their backs. Natsu. With sudden strength, Shoyo pushed Natsu to the ground. Thunk. 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 The kunai grazed their hair, embedding themselves in the nearby trees. They're here. Swish. 3 figures emerged, surrounding the siblings. Lucky us, said a man with brown hair, looking down at the two from above. They're already out of strength. TSK, what a mess, remarked a man with purple hair, surveying the area with a smirk. These poor fools didn't stand a chance. Well, it makes our job easier, doesn't it? Said a blonde woman as she crouched near Shoyo, brushing her fingers across his face. Smack. Natsu swatted the woman's hand away. Keep your filthy hands off him. She snapped, shielding her unconscious brother and glaring fiercely at the rogue ninjas. What a fiery little girl. The blonde sneered, inspecting the red mark on her hand. Do you really think you can keep fighting in that state? Stop wasting time, said the brown-haired man dismissively. Tie them up and let's move. They want them alive, after all. Natsu's mind raced. What should I do? Exhausted from 3 days and nights of fleeing and fighting, her chakra was completely depleted, and she had no supplies left. What should I do? Glancing at the blood pooling beneath Shoyo, she steeled herself. Wait, she said. Didn't you say you need them alive? That's right, little girl. The blonde sneered. Though staying alive might not be much better for you. Ignoring the taunt, Natsu knelt and turned Shoyo over. If you need him alive, help him. If he dies, you'll lose your prize, won't you? Huh, are you hoping for our kindness? The blonde poked at Shoyo's wound, feigning pity. What a shame. He's hurt too badly for us to help. Don't touch him. Natsu drew a kunai and lunged at the blonde's face, only for her wrist to be caught effortlessly. You're too weak to hurt anyone. The woman mocked, standing and tossing Natsu against a tree. Behave yourself. Crack. The sound of bones breaking echoed as Natsu spat out blood and collapsed to the ground. The blonde placed a foot on Shoyo, glaring down at Natsu. Disobey me again, and I won't hesitate to kill him. You. Tears of frustration filled Natsu's pale white eyes as she clawed at the ground. Enough playing around. The brown-haired man barked, reaching for Natsu. Don't damage the merchandise. As his hand closed in, a pulse of chakra surged. 8 trigrams, air palm. A tangible blast of chakra slammed into the man, sending him flying into the blonde, knocking them both down. Swish. 2 figures appeared beside the siblings. I'll handle them, Neji said, taking a gentle fist stance. You take care of their injuries. Understood. Sasuke turned to lift Natsu and place her beside Shoyo. It's Neji? Natsu asked, staring dazedly at the figure before them. It's him. Sasuke confirmed, frowning as he examined their injuries. Leave it to him. Please. Natsu suddenly grasped Sasuke's wrist. Save my brother. I will. Sasuke gently freed his wrist and began treating Shoyo with supplies from his pouch. On the other side, the 3 rogue ninjas regrouped, glaring at Neji. Another Hyuga? The purple-haired man sneered. Our luck really is great today. It seems you've been targeting the Hyuga clan. Neji said, his Byakugan activated. But luck is not on your side. What did you say? The brown-haired man growled, recalling the force of Neji's attack. Come on, brat. The blonde said, forming hand signs. Let's see what you've got. Idiot. Neji said coldly as gray markings appeared on his face, and chakra flared from his fingertips, sharp as blades. Chapter 211, Water Style, Tidal Wave. Lightning Style, Thunderball. The water style of the purple-haired man and the lightning style of the blonde woman merged, forming a tidal wave flashing with electric light, surging forward. Earth Style, Hardening Jutsu. The brown-haired man's skin turned deep brown as he followed his companion's combined jutsu, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Facing the electrified tidal wave, Neji spread his hands and shouted softly. Rotation. As Neji spun rapidly in place, chakra poured out from his body's chakra points, forming a complete sphere. The combined jutsu of the two rogue ninjas was disrupted by the rotation, scattering into countless water droplets. The brown-haired man rushed in, tightening his massive fist and slamming it forcefully against the rotation. The rotation continued spinning unaffected, and the man was sent flying backward. Just as he was airborne, Neji stopped spinning and quickly launched himself toward the man, landing a palm strike to his chest. 8 trigrams, mountain breaking strike. PFFT. The brown-haired man spat a large mouthful of blood, his body accelerating as it crashed into a large tree, breaking it before he collapsed to the ground, lifeless. Damn it. The two remaining rogue ninjas' faces changed drastically, and they quickly began forming hand seals. Too slow. Neji landed on the ground, his figure flashing, and once again struck the purple-haired man's chest with a palm. 8 trigrams, mountain breaking strike. The purple-haired man was sent flying, crashing into the rocks behind him, causing the massive rocks to crack upon impact. Cold sweat appeared on the blonde woman's forehead, and her face twisted with anger as she completed her hand seals. Die. Lightning Style, Thunder Snake. A giant serpent made of lightning formed in her hands and lunged rapidly at Neji with its mouth wide open. Neji gathered a bit of chakra and raised his hand, striking the air with a palm. 8 trigrams, air palm. A visible chakra shockwave shot from his palm, scattering the thunder snake in segments and colliding directly with the blonde woman's chest. Ah! The blonde woman screamed as she rolled a distance like a tumbling gourd, her eyes closing as she lost consciousness. I told you, your luck really is bad. Neji slowly withdrew his hands and turned to walk over to Sasuke's side. Just in time. Sasuke was treating Shoyo's injuries, his hands covered in blood, and immediately spoke to Neji. Quick, use your Byakugan to check for any signs of danger inside their bodies. Got it. Neji used his Byakugan to carefully examine the bodies of the two siblings before kneeling down to assist. Shoyo slowly opened his eyes, confused, and saw a rock wall. He suddenly remembered what happened before he passed out and shouted, struggling to sit up. Don't move. A hand pressed down on his shoulder. Shoyo turned his head and saw Neji beside him, and his eyes lit up with surprise. Neji. It's me. Neji nodded. Where's Natsu? Where is she? Shoyo anxiously grabbed Neji's arm and struggled to sit up. Did they take her? Big brother. Natsu rushed into the cave, crouching down to take his hand. You need to rest. Natsu. Shoyo smiled foolishly as he saw his sister, tears shimmering in his eyes. You're okay. That's such a relief. Idiot brother. Natsu also smiled, tears in her eyes. It's great that you're okay. This time, we were lucky Neji saved us. She looked up at Neji. Thank you, Neji. Don't mention it. Neji replied with some embarrassment. Sorry, I'm late. What are you saying? Shoyo still had no shadow of sorrow in his eyes. We're just lucky to be alive. Thank you, Neji. What happened to you two? Neji asked. Sasuke and I checked. Those guys seemed to be rogue ninjas working as bounty hunters. Shoyo and Natsu exchanged a glance and shook their heads. Shoyo said casually. We don't really know what happened either. Since we left the land of fire, we've been targeted by those bounty hunters. They said they wanted live captives. Natsu analyzed calmly. There must be something we don't know. It's almost certain that someone in the black market put a bounty on the Hyuga clan's ninjas. I see. Neji murmured. Wait a moment, Sasuke is interrogating those 3 people. We should get some useful information. At that moment, Sasuke walked into the cave. I've already gotten the information. He said directly. The black market has recently posted several bounties related to the Hyuga clan, all requiring live Hyuga clan ninjas. It seems there's not just one force behind these bounties in the black market. Neji's face darkened. It's probably your fault. Sasuke said bluntly. Your defection has triggered changes in the Hyuga clan, making those who covet the Byakugan start to act. Damn. Neji slammed his fist against the stone wall. I've dragged everyone into this. Neji. Shoyo, lying on the ground, suddenly became serious. This isn't your fault. But. Neji felt guilty. If this continues, many of our clan members might be in danger. This is normal. As ninjas, there's always danger. Shoyo smiled again. It's just that we're still too weak. Natsu added. That's right, Neji. We, who are on the path of change, already knew what consequences would come after losing the caged bird. She looked at Neji with sincere eyes. There are still many like-minded clansmen. We all understand the dangers we face without the caged bird. This time, we're lucky. We were actually out looking for you. Natsu explained. The branch family of our clan wants to make contact with you. You. Neji calmed down. If I remember correctly, your family was originally loyal to the main house, right? You're right. Shoyo looked up at the rocks above them. Our family has always been loyal to the main house. Our elders have always been proud of it and have raised us in that way. But I don't want to continue like this. At this point, there was a fire in his eyes. When I was branded with the cursed seal, I accepted it without question. His gaze shifted to Natsu, and it softened. But when it was time for my sister, I suddenly realized. He raised his hand to cover his eyes. Must it always be like this? I asked myself that then. She's still so young. She's branded with an ugly seal, bound to serve the main house for her entire life, and eventually die protecting the main house. When I thought about such a future, I couldn't accept it. At that time, I had a big argument with father and was locked up. Natsu smiled nostalgically. I didn't understand back then. I even told him not to make father angry. I fought back at that time. Shoyo's voice trembled. But nothing changed. My sister was still branded with a cursed seal. Chapter 212, Big Brother is always like this, blaming himself for things that aren't his fault. Natsu said softly, lowering her gaze. Anyway, after that, I learned how to hide. Shoyo said with a proud grin. After that one incident, I pretended to gradually become more sensible, fooling those old geezers all the way until now. So, on the surface, you two seem to be part of the main house faction, but secretly you're aligned with the branch house. Neji said, understanding dawning on him. Exactly. Shoyo laughed. I've been hiding it well. What's there to be proud of? Without me, you would have been exposed ages ago, you idiot. Natsu smacked Shoyo on the head. Hee hee. Shoyo chuckled shamelessly. I'm pretty dumb, after all. Natsu's the smarter one. Neji asked. You said the branch house members want to contact me? Did something happen in the clan? Yes. Natsu straightened up and spoke seriously. We've received recent intel suggesting that Lord Hokage has found a way to break the caged bird curse mark. Someone secretly passed this information to members of the branch house, but they can't confirm if it's true. It's true. Neji glanced at Sasuke. Sasuke's uncle researched it and handed the results to the 5th Hokage. It's been developed. The siblings spoke in unison, excitement evident in their voices. And you? Seeing the anticipation and bright, hopeful eyes of the two, Neji decided to act decisively. He removed the bandage wrapped around his forehead, revealing his smooth skin. Yes, my caged bird curse mark has been removed. Really? Natsu suddenly stood up, staring intently at Neji's forehead. She even reached out to touch it, exclaiming repeatedly. That's amazing. Truly amazing. I want to feel it too. Shoyo raised his hand eagerly. Helpless, Neji crouched down, allowing Shoyo to touch his forehead. This is awesome. Shoyo beamed. Neji, you're incredible. Alright, it's time for you to eat something. Sasuke interrupted. He took out several bento boxes, heated them with his red fire chakra, and handed them over. Thank you, Sasuke-kun. Natsu quickly accepted the bentos, handing one to Neji before helping Shoyo settle against the stone wall. This smells so good. Natsu said, inhaling the aroma of her food. It tastes great. Shoyo's cheeks puffed up as he ate enthusiastically. Where did the bentos came from? Neji suddenly asked after a few bites. They had been together recently, so there was no time to buy bentos. Sasuke swallowed his food and replied casually. I brought them from home. Neji froze, his face stiffening. How long ago? Sasuke thought for a moment before answering. You already know. Back when Uncle Minato brought me to Hidden Leaf Village. At this, both Hyuga siblings also froze mid-bite. Ugh. Neji felt his stomach churn. Clutching his throat, he growled through gritted teeth. That was over 20 days ago.